Should we just skip ahead? I mean, I've got everything set up. I've got everything done. I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it. Oh, okay. Well, this is unusual. Okay, so my stream is running on my dashboard at the moment. And I'm looking at it. I got my dashboard, my stream manager open as always. And I keep forgetting I've got the Google Chrome subtitles extension on. And it's subtitling me as I'm speaking. And that's super fucking weird, man. That is creepy as all fuck. Holy shit. Also, James Charles is a pedophile. Anyway, that's fucking weird. I'm gonna pause my stream so, on this end so that I'm not... It's not weird. Anyway. So, how you folks doing tonight? What's going on? What's the happenings? What is the his happenings in the his house? In your his house? In my his house? I just realized there was a YouTube video playing in the background muted on another tab, which I was gonna look at some point tonight. This music is still too loud. Is this music too loud? Is music too loud for you folks? I don't know. Anyway. Thank you for the hydration. You've been trying and failing to clean your lair for the past week. I've gotten into at least the habit of keeping my bedroom clean. I'm quite liking it, to be honest with you. It's a stark change from how I used to be when I was a lot younger. Music is perfectly fine. Good to hear it, good to hear it, good to hear it. How's your day been, folks? What have you been up to? My name is Abby Beck, by the way. Welcome to the Rogue Room. This is, and yeah, as you mentioned before, pleasantly surprised to see me that I'm live because you thought it was a Saturday. I have recently just changed my schedule. Detroit. There you go, friend. Oh yeah, I did my nails. Look at my nails. My nails is pretty. Also, on a similar subject with regards to beauty. So we went out to this night market thing tonight. Me and my sister and my son. We met some friends. We hung out there. There's loads of people, which seems like a breeding ground for COVID. So if I die in the next 2 weeks, that's why. At any rate, we went there, and at some point, as we were wandering around going to get like a dessert or something, or I went and I got a coffee because all I consume is coffee. We were walking through the crowds towards, back towards our little group of friends. And some little girl, like not little girl, but someone who was like a little, like 15-year-old girl, I would estimate, ran up to me and said, "Oh my God, I love your eyeliner." And I was like, holy shit. Someone just out of the blue came up and complimented my makeup. What the is this a normal thing that people do? How do you respond to that? I'm used to you folks in chat complimenting my makeup and such. But what the fuck? I've never had that before. And I've seen like women wearing like particularly cute outfits and I want to go up to them and compliment their outfit because I'm like, I want that shirt or whatever it is. I'm like, that's such a weird experience. I've never had that before. Oh, anyway, it was a fun time out. It was a good fun time out. Found that just trying to find the actual roadblock is helping for you. It was cleaning your sink. You do that and the rest becomes easy. Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like if you find a specific thing, especially with regards to housework, keeping your space clean, you find the one big thing that's in your way. You do the. It's like when you're a kid and your parents want you to eat your vegetables. And they'll tell you to eat the vegetables first and save like the sausages and gravy and mashed potato till last or something, right? You save your favorite bits till last. You eat all the veggies first, which aren't even that bad, kids. Eat your vegetables. But you eat the veggies first because they're not the bit you want to eat. And then, once you've eaten all the vegetables, surprise, shock and horror, there's no veggies on your plate anymore. And all you've got is the lovely, delicious meat and gravy or whatever the fuck. I don't know, whatever you're eating. Whatever you're eating. It's the same kind of thing with cleaning. You know, you take the worst bit, the bit that's really grinding down your soul. You do that first and then the rest of it feels a lot easier because you've knocked out the worst of the bunch. You know? Trying out your femside makes you a lot happier and makes you want to live in a nice place. I am the same, Del, honestly. I am absolutely the same. Since coming out, I've noticed I have a lot more of a tendency towards keeping my space a lot neater and tidier and cleaner. Speaking of which, I do need to actually take a cleaning day soon. It's getting dirty again in this bitch. I'm not happy with it. Love that point with the vegetables. Yeah, it tends to work. Hey, Skittles, how's it going? I saw a woman in the shops with teal hair, and as you walked past, you leaned over and said, "That is a stunning color," and walked off. I want teal hair. I want purple hair. I want my hair to be like, hang on. hang on. Just stop. You had fish cakes for dinner. Nice, nice. I love the way Philosophy Tube's hair looks, especially in her coming out video. I don't know if it's a natural color or what, if she's had it dyed or something, but the way that her hair has like a darkness on top and it sort of fades into a lighter brown that's almost reddish in its hue. You can't really see it because I've got my stupid chat box in the way. But like, I just love the way her hair looks, and I would love to like steal that. Actually, it reminds me, somebody, I think it was, somebody did an artwork of me.
The Rogue Room appreciates your
Daywolf, thank you for the host. Thank you so kindly. Somebody did a fan art of me based on the way that the light was hitting my hair in a certain photo of me. You might have seen this photo. I posted it a while back, and it's one of my favorite photos of myself. This one, right? This photo here. You look at this picture, and you see how the red from this light over here is hitting my hair, and it kind of looks like my hair starts brown and bleeds into red. And I kind of want to do something like that, if I can. I want to dye like the lower half so that it's a fade in. And this is what I wanted to do when I went to the hairdressers recently. And I asked them about it, and they said it'd be $400 fucking dollars. And I said, I'll come back. I'm not going back there. I'm not going back there. Good lord. That top, it's a dress. It's a dress. I quite like it. We're just gonna gush over my outfits at the moment. Yeah, I quite like this. I quite like this outfit. I need to get a belt. I've got a belt, but it's not really the kind of like waist belty thing you wear around this. I need to get some kind of a waist belt to wear around this one to pull that in a bit, because otherwise it's just kind of drapey and looks a bit eh. I want to show you the thing I got tonight though at one of the market stalls, which was a lot of fun. Check this out, dude. Look, I'm gonna wear this on stream soon. Well, maybe. You'll see why I say maybe in a moment, because it's yeah, it's cute, don't get me wrong, it's another play suit, but I'm just like, if I put this on I definitely need to wear like some kind of an undershirt under it or something, because that's a recipe for disaster. Like just it's cute, but holy fuck, like, going for the sex appeal. Yeah, I'm getting in on it before I even have cleavage. You gotta make sure you got, like, you know, when I've got the big genetic family tits, I want to have dresses that will really show off the feet. I shouldn't actually talk about the genetics thing, because had a bit of an interaction on Twitter with Fragile Machine, where it basically boiled down to, you know, me saying anyone who is particularly proud of their genetics needs to shut the fuck up, because that in its own way. What is that on my screen? Please tell me my screen is not cracked. Oh, you're kidding. Oh no. I think there's a crack in my screen, a very faint one. That's dick. That is some dick right there. Fuck, man. I can't afford another monitor. Why is there a crack in my monitor? No. Not poggers. Anyway. It's very cute. It's very sheer as well. I'm just going to throw that out there. So if I wear it, I'm definitely going to be wearing like a singlet underneath or something. I cannot wear that in good faith with nothing underneath. I hate to disappoint those of you that would be interested in seeing what's going on in that area. But that's why I'm like, you know, we're holding off on launching the OnlyFans. Anyway, women's haircuts infuriate you to no end. You pay $30 for an undercut and your facial hair. Yeah, exactly. Like, when I used to get haircuts before, it started around $20 when I started regularly getting my own haircut, and gradually it edged up in price to the point where I was paying maybe $25 over the years, you know. But I've always known women's haircuts, hairstyle, hair color, all of this, to cost excessive amounts of money, and it's ridiculous. So I'd probably look at maybe getting it done privately or going to the university where they teach hairstyling and all that. You can go and get your hair cut with the students who are learning, and it's cheaper, so there's that. It's been 10 years since you had to professionally cut. You do it yourself. Well, I mean, that's good. I'd like to learn how to do that. It'd be nice to have that kind of capacity available to me. No, it gives you a big confidence boost talking the stereotypically sassy, flamboyant gay voice. Fantastic. Love to hear it. Exactly. That's what makes you glorious and confident. Be that. Do that. I feel like I would be... I feel like I'd be pushing some kind of a weird... what am I doing here? Hang on, let me close this. I feel like I would be being very stereotypical if I were to even try it, and I don't want to try it. I can't tell if it's a crack or if there's a mark on my screen. Dude, if that's a crack, I'm so pissed off. No, that is annoying. I haven't done anything to justify my screen being cracked, for the record. There's no reason my screen should be cracked. Period. Period, sis. Anyway, mark on the screen. Is it? Let's try to wipe it off. That didn't do anything. Okay, it didn't do anything. It's still there. I can't... Here's a thought. I mean, if it is a mark on the screen, it's not that big of a deal, but... Trying to get a photo of it. That didn't work. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. That doesn't work at all. Okay, anyway. I haven't had a chance. I haven't had much of a chance to look at the news today. So there were a few things I wanted to talk about. There's a hair in my eye right this second that is killing me. Am I using a CRT? No, these are LCD monitors, I think. LED, LCD, AOC, lots of other acronyms. Let me think. 23 point, I think it's a 23.8 curved monitors. I believe that's the one. Let's have a look. This might be the model. Take me to the Australia site. You've taken me away from the product I wanted to look at. That's not really helping me. Ah, well. It's... I forget. I think it's a 23.8 inch curved monitor from AOC. Not the American politician, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but the company called AOC. Commander Skittles, you've been prancing around a skirt and top all week. Yeah, the Scots were right. The Scots were absolutely right. Why are we not normalizing kilts? Men, I speak to you, particularly cis-het men, because I feel like gay men would probably be totally fine wearing a skirt and think nothing of it. Cis-het men of the world, I say to you, Tiger Lily, welcome to the Rogue Room, for the record. Also, I'm going to turn my follow alerts back on screen. I'm going to change the way they are. I'm gonna do some new alerts over the weekend. Anyway, cis-het men of the world, I urge you, what you should do. Cisgender heterosexual men of the world, or just men in general. Just men who have some kind of a chagrin towards skirts. Go out there and find yourself a skirt. I guarantee you Kmart's probably got a black one, just a black skirt that'll go past your knees. Just go do it. Put that shit on. Take it to the change rooms, try it on, walk around in it a little bit. It's freeing, my friends. Believe me. It is a freeing experience like none other. Get your ass out of those shitty denim jeans. Go buy a skirt. You know what we'll do? We'll put cargo pockets on it. And we'll put some edgy branding like you'd see on the front of a tattoo shop on the label. And we'll put it in the men's section. And we'll call it New Kilt. NU Kilt. Or the tactical skirt. Yeah, exactly. You probably couldn't use the term skirt, but given the fact that we've seen that they're selling eyeshadow for men now. Black eyeshadow, and they're calling it war paint.
Another round.
Devin, thank you for the 290 bits.
Can you please tell me to get the unicorn back to work?
Devin, can you please get the unicorn back to work? I love our censor. It's fucking great. Meggings. I have no idea how liberating it is for your balls to wear a skirt. Just do it. Just wear a skirt. Just do it. Cishet men wear skirts. It frees the bollocks and makes life so much more comfortable. I'm going to tweet this. Cishet men wear a skirt. There we go. I tweeted that. That's what you got. That's all. I'm lazy. I'm not going to be creative with it. Cishet men wear a skirt. FAQ enabler. Welcome to the Rogue Room. How many questions do you have? I thought it was literally like frequently asked questions enabler. Like you were going to ask me questions that are in my FAQ, which I need to redo my panels anyway. Important questions you have for chat. What should you cover for Ace stuff? What do you mean should you cover? Oh, we hit 3,600 followers. Nobody unfollow or I'll punch you in the face. We hit 3,600 followers. Fuck yes. Fuck yes, dude. For Ace Day. Is it Ace Week or is it Ace Day? Is there two separate things? Want to cover a thing you don't know what? Good question, honestly. Good question. Because I'm not particularly aware of it. I'm sure there's some resources you could find that are on the internet. List of LGBT awareness periods. There's a day on Tuesday and a week at the end of October. Okay, I see. My stream is mostly, commentary. We've just been sort of chatting, rambling at the moment. We are going to get into some discussion around some things, including the Derek Chauvin case, because we were going to do that last night, but we never got around to it. It's been going on for about 4 days now. And it'll be interesting to see, like, what has come of that particular trial. I am curious. Because we did dip into it recently before the trial started, you might have heard. Back in, was it last month, the month before, they started setting up for the Derek Chauvin trial in, is it Minneapolis? Is it in Minneapolis? I've forgotten. Wherever it took place, wherever the trial is taking place. They set up barbed wire fences and razor wire trenches between these barbed wire fences to deter protesters from trying to storm the halls of the courthouse. Could you imagine if they did that at Capitol Hill? You know, remember the January 6th riots? Whatever, or was it a riot? The January 6th, the storming of the Capitol, the coup d'etat attempt. You know, maybe the White House should have had the barbed wire fences and the razor wire trenches. But instead, they're doing that here for the Derek Chauvin trial around the courthouse where that's taking place. And for those of you who missed it, barbed wire is a deterrent. Razor wire is designed to garrote you. So if you get caught up in barbed wire, you might get a few bits of metal piercing your flesh. Not going to be very nice, but it's not really going to kill you. Whereas if you get caught up in a tunnel of razor wire, it's designed to like lacerate your skin at deep. Like it's bad. It's Saw. Yeah, it's Saw, like the movie Saw. It's that bad. So barbed wire is a deterrent. Razor wire is a war crime. It's bad. Not all barbed wire is that bad. Yeah, no. Barbed wire isn't that bad. Most barbed wire, whatever Universal Pictures All Access. Pamela Anderson is barbed wire, the sexiest, toughest woman in Steel Harbor, a city marked by chaos and crime, providing a home for a new kind of mercenary. If you've got a problem, barbed wire is the solution. You love the cup? I love the cup. The cup's nice. This has been with me for like a decade. I love this thing. In California, we call it the Sacred Slinky. Yeah, they already tear gassed us. Yeah, at this point, I'd be surprised if they... this trailer's not loading, by the way. I can't even watch it. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the US... I mean, now that Trump's no longer in office, this might not be a problem. But I have thought, especially considering... like, the thing with 6 Days in Fallujah and the lack of representation of white phosphorus. I'm surprised that Trump didn't authorize the use of white phosphorus on protesters. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the use of white phosphorus? Yeah, the apolitical war game. Get fucked. Anyway. What are my thoughts on Destiny and his takes? I've only heard about him through the grapevine, honestly. I've seen clips of him occasionally. I think I saw a bit of a stream where he was chiming in and he was desperate to defend the N-word. He was desperate to defend white people using the N-word. And other than that, I don't really know a whole lot about him. Yeah, I know I don't need to talk about him, but at the same time, he is a pretty prominent figure in the political streamer space. A political war game, more like a political war game. Am I right? Yeah, I mean, if he's defended Kyle Rittenhouse, that's a pretty shit take. I'll say that much. There's no defending Kyle Rittenhouse. That's defending a blatant terrorist. You know, an outright terrorist who crossed state lines with an armed assault rifle to mow down civilians, you know. That dude did not need to be in that state with that gun. Why was he there, you know? Only in this community you'll achieve way more talking about bigger issues. His following isn't even prominent. Really? Is he still on Twitch? He hasn't been banned from Twitch recently, has he? He's been removed from the partner program, if I'm not mistaken. 645k followers. What's his... How about, like... How about this? This isn't really a great example to use, but I'm just curious here. Let's see what his view count ratio is like. I'd prefer to talk about the issues than about the other streamers talking about the issues, if that makes sense. You know, I prefer to focus on the issues affecting the world rather than the other streamers and their thoughts on those things. So his average viewers is about 3.3 thousand. And he's got about 645,000 followers, compared to, let's just say, Hassan, for example, who is Hassan Abi, which is, if I search Hassan for some reason, Hassan is the third result on Twitch Tracker. I don't know how that happened, because if I recall correctly, he's got about 16,000 average viewers, and twice as many followers. So he's got twice as many followers as Destiny, and 4 times as many average viewers as Destiny. And if I recall correctly, Hassan has been routinely one of the biggest political streamers on the platform. People in your real life you never meet in your neighborhood always harass you on your walks. You don't trust the police to call them for help. You're completely right to feel that way, Fallen, honestly. That's kind of the problem with the police. As we're going to get into with this Derek Chauvin situation, and if anyone's got any more stories to throw at me tonight, please do. Tonight's a night where I need more content. There is a point at there's somewhere in this description of the Derek Chauvin trial. Sorry, there is a point somewhere in here. Let's go through this. This is going to be tricky. Where one of the witnesses who was testifying mentioned that watching the scene unfold, they wanted to call the police on the police. So as it was going on, they wanted to call the cops again because, hey, your cops are here in the street murdering people. Maybe send some other cops to shut them down. You know, that's how bad it was. That's how bad the situation with George Floyd was. Anyway, they spy on you in your house and watch your social media? Really? Jesus Christ, that's fucked. Twitch is fucking up on your end. Rogue is just saying, okay, it didn't do anything. Hassan is genuinely one of the biggest Twitch streamers, which is why the left will win. The left can win. Destiny gets a couple thousand views consistently on his Twitch and his website, and YouTube also have massive view counts independently of his Twitch, which he streams on at the same time. Okay, I see then. I mean, it makes sense that he can have a living from this shit. Like, he certainly knows how to monetize and obviously distribute his content. I mean, I have strongly considered breaking my affiliate contract for the sole purpose of being able to restream to Twitch and YouTube. But then, I've got a bit of a double-edged sword situation here, where it's, if I cut my affiliate contract on Twitch, There'll be no more ads on my streams, for one thing. That's a good thing. However, I won't have the capacity to get like subs and bits, as you know, if you folks like, that's the easiest way for viewers on Twitch to directly financially support their favorite content creators. You just hit the sub button, or you buy a bunch of bits, and then you can just cheer whenever you want, sort of thing. That is so accessible, and that's why it is so difficult to move support offsite to places like Patreon, for example, which gives you a way better cut as a creator. And I'm always going to advocate, if you want to support your favorite creator, see if they have like a direct support option as opposed to using the sub function. But you know, there's a whole lot of alluring reasons to sub to somebody. Like, they've got hype trains now. Obviously, you've got emotes, ad-free viewing, and all that sort of stuff. But the appeal of streaming on multiple platforms at once, like for example streaming on Twitch and YouTube and like whatever other platform I might be able to use, is very appealing because you can broaden your audience in that regard, but you can't do that under the affiliate contract. Anyway, you don't understand why Destiny would even hang on. You don't understand why anyone would find Destiny fun to watch. Hassan has charisma. Destiny seems like a less likable Spock. Yeah, I can see that. What I've seen of him, that's definitely a pretty it's a pretty concise way of wrapping up what I've seen of Destiny. Stream on Twitch in the beginning, make YouTube videos based on VODs, then the Demon Mama Destiny Vosh track with your own website. Oh yeah, comparing Spock to Destiny is an insult. Speaking of hitting the sub button, did you hit the sub button? Because it didn't do anything. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I've been slacking on releasing VODs. Not VODs. I've been uploading my VODs fine on my offline channel, but I haven't been doing my videos. I have not been doing my videos lately, and that's been a bit difficult because I've been under so much pressure with everything else that I haven't had the time or energy to put out a new video on the channel. And I've got a few good ones, honestly. I got a few good videos there that I could definitely just churn out really quickly. But I need a new intro for my videos. I'm considering just releasing videos without intros, outros. You know? I don't know if that would be interesting to you folks, but I'm just, you know. Yeah, I want to put...
Thank you for your membership.
There we go. Oh, Tombadils.
Please enjoy all the delights of the subscriber lounge.
Thank you so kindly for the subscription. And, Rena, sub for 3 months, you fucking legend.
Thank you for your membership.
FAQ
Please
enabler.
enjoy all the delights of the subscriber
Thank you so
lounge.
kindly for subscribing. Thank you, folks. You lovely, lovely people, you. Oh, excuse me. Found him kind of charismatic in a surprising way, but he's very erratic and has some pretty fucked takes lately. I've noticed that. I've noticed what I've heard of him is a lot of people have said he's gone a fair way much more towards the right, whereas he used to seemingly be something of a leftist creator. There you go, Dal. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. You live by the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yeah. Well, that's a tricky complicated. As a general rule, yes. That's an idea philosophically, but when yeah, the only requirement is to enjoy the stream, don't be a dick. The only requirement to enjoy the stream is don't be a dick. Looking at the phrase, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, sounds good at a glance. But once you start to unpack what's going to happen to certain groups of people who are the few, who are not really harming anyone by existing, but there are groups of people who would take the mantra of the needs of the many, much like what's going on with the trans discussion right now. You know, if I were to continue to harp on this point, trans people are the few in this circumstance, which is very complicated, of course, because, you know, the needs of the many versus the needs of the few could be a whole different situation. It could be, for example, let's do the Tim Pool thing and reference an Avengers movie. They were going to nuke New York, something like 8 million people to save the billions left on the planet. They were going to nuke New York to end the invasion until, you know, Iron Man saved the day, of course. And that's a needs of the many versus the needs of the few thing where, complicated decision, obviously, be very hard to make that choice. But then you've got the other people who look at trans folks and see us as a group of predators that need to be extinguished, thus we are the few, and our needs are not necessary, contrasted with the needs of the many who are generally cisgender heterosexual people, and they can easily justify wiping us out, because we're protecting the majority. Anyway. From each according to their ability to each according to their needs. Indeed. Don't mind Destiny, to be honest. Initially, you didn't really like him, but honestly, watching the kinds of takes he interacts with, both on the left and the right, you don't blame him for sticking more to just kinda a liberal take. Outside of his big shit takes, of course. Again, I haven't watched enough of Destiny to be able to make an informed decision on that. So, all I know is I've heard a lot of people shitting on him. A ton of people shitting on him. I know he has certainly destroyed some of his friendships with some of his political stances. As far as I know, there are certain people who no longer associate with him as a friend because of his absolute diehard takes on certain things. Oh yeah, there's no reason for me to watch Destiny because I don't like first-person shooters. Ha ha ha! That's a funny joke. Anyway, there you go, Fox. There you go. Watch this instead. What do we got? What doth we have? Can I watch it? Dave Rubin top moments. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's watch this. Shall we watch this? Let's watch Dave Rubin top moments. I love Doom. I do love Doom. How's it going, Calgar? Alright, let's watch this rubbish. Let's watch Dave Rubin being shit, because I know Dave Rubin is shit. That's one thing that I'm aware of. Dave Rubin is shit. I'll just turn it all the way up. Okie dokie. What is he doing?
But now, every time something comes on that has Bette Midler in it, I'm going to have to think, oh, there's that crazy lady who called me a chump on Twitter. Okay, so I got some numbers here. So Bill Clinton did 364 executive actions. George W. Bush did 291, so a little bit less. Obama did 276, a little bit less. And Trump actually did the least, 218. $8 every...
Was that... Hang on, let me bring the stats up again. That's across 8 years. Executive orders per year. He did 55 executive orders per year in 4 years. So, obviously Dave Rubin cannot math. I've watched a bit of Sam Cedar. Not
218. $8 every 4 weeks for 1 year. $8.
3 bad math incidents. Oh my god. I can't wait.
Every 4 weeks for 1 year. Give me the math on that. It's $8 every 4 weeks for 1 year. So multiply that by 52. Can you do that? 8 times 52? Somebody help me here. We're ballparking. It's about $400. It seems like it's about $400. Work with me? Yeah, about this third-degree murder without getting too much into all of this.
I missed that whole thing. I was too busy looking at chat. 8 times 12. What was he talking about?
For 1 year. So weeks. $8 every 4 weeks for 1 year. $8 every 4 weeks for 1 year. Give me the math on that.
Oh yeah, 8 times 12. Okay.
$8 is 52. Somebody help me here. We're ballparking. It's about $400. It seems like it's about $400. Work with me? Yeah, about this third-degree murder without getting too much into all of the specifics, but you should do a little Googling on your own. In essence, third-degree murder is like if you drove your car intentionally into a crowd of people to kill a lot of people, or you started firing into a crowd intentionally, just maiming people. First degree and second degree, that's probably what's more applicable in this. But Keith Ellison is throwing that third degree charge in there in a way, in my estimation at least, because he wants riots and he knows that this will make it harder to convict. That's the point, that if they had gone for the first degree and second degree, virtually everybody across the political spectrum and all over the world would have said justice was done here if he was convicted of those two things. But now by taking this leap, they're setting us up for further destruction. They're setting us up for further upheaval. But in essence...
I just realized the 007 music in the background, which is probably some kind of DMCA thing. Not a fan of his, but you do think people try to use him for clout instead of having actual real criticism. You mean Dave Rubin or do you mean Destiny? Rubin, I'm going to lie to you, but I'm going to give you the stats debunking me at the same time I'm making the argument. I think Dave mixed up burn degrees with murder degrees. It says legally fair use, yeah, but will Twitch see that? That's the problem I have. with Rubin speaking over it, we should be fine.
You're making a great point here. That Attorney General Keith Ellison, he's ramping up a charge that sounds like it will be very hard to convict on. So I think he's intentionally going with this high charge. And short of a full conviction, and I think whatever that means, even if there was a full conviction, they would still find a way to go ahead with the violence they have planned, because that's part of the battle right now. It's not just a legal battle, it's a cultural battle. We're seeing like,
what the fuck is he talking about? I don't even know what he's talking about in that particular circumstance. Dave, third-degree murder is whatever I want it to be, Rubin.
90% of the hospital beds.
R-U-B-I-N, actually. Rubin seems Rubin's rightoid, isn't he? He seems not very clever, if I'm entirely honest.
In California are overtaken. SoCal and LA, all the hospital beds are overtaken. There's 2 hospitals that I live about 10 minutes between, and I drove by both yesterday, and they're pretty much empty. I did not go in and check every bed, so I'm just telling you what I can see on the outside, which are pretty much...
You can't see the beds on the inside, you dickhead.
Empty parking lots, and the lines for COVID.
He's a classic liberal, yeah. Like liberal, there's a reason like they call it a classic liberal, is because liberalism and conservatism have shifted in their meaning since, you know, what used to be a liberal back in, I think it was the 1800s actually, was a lot more conservative leaning in its policies, and then over time, it's like with the situation with the Australian Liberal Party here. The Liberal Party is quite frankly the Conservative Party of Australia. That freeze frame though, I know, that's a banger, that one is. The Conservative Party in Australia is the Liberal Party, which is confusing, given that conservatism is a different political situation. Anywho.
COVID testing that are completely empty and everything else. So it's just like...
He took from you. Now, I get that all these numbers are made up, and we're going to go into some of the numbers in a minute, and it's $1 trillion for this and $350 billion for this, and it's all just made up numbers that get us further into debt, and we'll owe China more and more, and eventually we'll have to go to war with China because, you know, at some point it's just sort of like the mafia. You keep borrowing money from somebody, and if you can't pay them back, you kind of have to, you hope that your muscle's bigger than their muscle. Anyway, I will say one other thing on the recall situation. I am not completely ruling out a run for governor. David and I had a long talk about it.
Oh, God. We're talking about Dave Rubin. He's a dingleberry. He is a ringing from the dog whistling. Yeah, Dave, I drove by a hospital, so I know my state's healthcare system is working, Rubin. Why do conservatives not understand credit and debt? I don't understand credit and debt, so I need to work on that personally.
And the point is that we get rid of all of these things, and then we say, oh, but the woman with the leaking pussy and the bucket and the mop and the whole thing and the girl...
Okay. That was a phrase that just came out of his mouth.
Dancing in the shoe, that's all okay. The one that I saw this morning is that Hasbro has announced that Mr. Potato Head won't be called Mr. Potato Head anymore.
Mr. Potato Head is still called Mr. Potato Head, for the record. The volume is up way too high. I'm gonna turn it down, it's like deafening me. Anyway.
He'll just be Potato Head because...
The brand will be Potato Head. Mr. Potato Head still exists.
Obviously that was offensive to somebody, or he wasn't really a man, or he is a man, or being a man. You could take the mustache off, then he's missing.
Why do these people, Dave Mike Peak Rubin by accident, why were these people harping on about this? This comes back to what I was saying before. It's like they're making up something to be angry about, so that they don't have to face the real issues to be angry about. Like, nobody was complaining at Hasbro to change the name of Potato Head. They just wanted an easier branding, you imbeciles. Anyway.
This is Potato Head. I mean, did you watch Toy Story? There was Mr. Potato Head and Mrs. Potato Head, and you can switch all their...
I think I remember actually distinctly watching that clip. Mr. Head. Okay, so, did you watch Toy Story? Did you watch James Charles' stupid fucking haircut? Anyway, we'll come back to that. Ayn Rand is iffy for you. You don't think objectivism is what right libertarians think it is. I'm still not 100% certain on what objectivism is, but it seems like it's not a great thing, but it's not... It's not a great political philosophy, but it's not... I don't know. I don't understand it fully. I've read a bit about it, about objectivism, and I'm still not 100% set on what exactly it is. It seems very vague and open to interpretation, you know, and that's maybe the problem. Wait, we'll have to go to war with China. Why the fuck are you quoting Fallout, you dumb bastard? Stop talking about Dr. Seuss and do something for the workers in the country. Yeah. I swear by my life and my love of it that I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask another man to live for mine. Okay. Yeah, Ayn Rand is considered a joke in many philosophical communities. Like her, and this is what's amusing. This is what's highly amusing to me. We know what we think about Zack Snyder. We know what we think about Zack Snyder. I get the feeling a lot of you have certain opinions of the man. And he is a staunch Randian. He's a very staunch Randian and wants to adapt the Fountainhead, whatever that means at the end of the day. So yeah, that's a thing. Also, I thought Cloud Atlas was that. I mean, yeah, I thought Cloud Atlas was actually Atlas Shrugged. And if you've seen Cloud Atlas, you'll know it's a bit of a yikes movie for a number of reasons. But they actually did adapt Atlas Shrugged into a trilogy, if I'm not mistaken. So where were we? Which is a big yikes? Objectivism is basically the world is my oyster. Why shouldn't I say fuck you? Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of what I've gleaned from it. He didn't understand Watchmen. No one can like both Watchmen and the Fountainhead and understand them. A definite fascist whose films have been used to train US soldiers to enjoy killing brown people, unshockingly. Gotta get going. Radio Kiara, have a good one. Thank you so kindly for swinging by. A trilogy not helped much by the free market indie movies no one made to see. Oh, goodness. Objectivism put like that really looks a lot like alternative individualism, which is what I initially read into it. You know, when I was looking at a breakdown of what objectivism is, I was like, isn't this just individualism in its own way? Which is not necessarily the best course of action. But I was still looking at it like, I'm still not understanding the core problems here. I think I need someone to do a breakdown of what exactly the problem is with Ayn Rand and objectivism. I think I'm missing quite a few things. Time for Tinkle. Ayn Rand was vocally pro-abortion, which is hard for the conservatives who idolize her. I'm pro-abortion, but I'm anti-choice. Just abortions for all. Anyway. Don't clip that. It's a joke. I'm pro-abortion in Minecraft. Anyway, you don't feel smart enough for this conversation. Neither do I, honestly. I'm only just barely clinging on here. Clip Abby as a eugenicist. I forgot to post in Discord, did I? No, I didn't. I posted it. I did post it. I'm just your type. Fascinating. An internet personality? Is that what that means? People, make a film based off Ayn Rand. Audience, destroy the films with facts and logic by not watching. Oh, goodness, yes. It's not showing on your end. That's weird. I think I added the add everyone after the fact, but in my own Discord, sorry, in my own Discord, in the live section, it should actually say that I posted it, because I did. You have your own fucking philosophy anyway. And what would that be? What would that be? I'm still not 100% set on, you know, what my philosophy of the world around it, of the world around me, is. You know, I'm still working on that. The idea that everyone should live for themselves is big cringe. Oh yeah, it is. I think there's nothing wrong with necessarily being selfish about certain aspects of yourself. About certain aspects of your life, sorry. But there is a point where you do need to consider the world around you and your contribution to it. You know? Is Smudge the pillow? Smudge is a real cat. He's out there jingling his bell at the moment. He is a real cat. He is my real cat. But the big cat head thingy over there is just a mask that you can wear, and I'm not going to put it on. Don't ask me to. Still weird you didn't get pinged. Maybe it's because I edited the post instead of actually atting everyone in Discord, which is probably a tacky thing to do anyway. If you're really interested in learning more about it, there's a great BBC documentary by Adam Curtis that covers it all. Watched over by Machines of Loving Grace. Sometimes you wish you were a bee. Level of working together is nice. It seems like a good concept, you know, in a lot of ways. Isn't that communism, basically? Bee's communist. It talks about Rand and how she influenced culture in the West going into the digital age and how she influences things like social media and big tech companies. That's interesting. That's interesting. Your philosophy is anarcho-Bidenism with Tulsi Gabbardist characteristics influenced by Kamala Harrisianist ideology. Fuck, I want to die. I just want to die, man. At least you're not a Morrisonist. At least you're not a Morrisonist. You know? That's possibly the worst take. The only political philosophy that Scott Morrison has is deflect and then say, how good's the cricket? How good's the cricket, eh? How good's the cricket? It's going to completely deflect away from any of the issues that, you know, you are at the head of and need to address. Trying to hydrate because I haven't had enough water tonight. I'm going to need more of this. Think of your philosophical beliefs as a mix between Satanism, Luciferianism, social anarchism, and anti-fascism. Anti-fascism should be the default. Thank you for the hydration, Draco. Andrew Boltus / ScoMoism with Pete Evans characteristics. I hate the fact that Pete Evans is actually legitimately going into politics. And let's talk about politics for a moment. Where was it? There was a video. Let me see if I can find it. This is in the Australian, which is not great. There is a video. Hang on, let me find it. Has to be here. Has to be. Oh my god, look at this man's face. Jesus Christ, he's terrifying. And we're supposed to believe the paleo diet works? I mean, he's melting out of his skin. Anyway, let's see here. There was a video. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to fucking find it. Let's try Twitter. Twitter may have it. There was a video of Pete Evans going on a rant and rave against politicians, right? Just here it is. I found it. Okay, remember what Pete Evans thinks about politicians. So for those of you who don't know, Pete Evans, the neo-Nazi white supremacist paleo chef, who recently quite literally did get cancelled. Good, fuck him. Anyways, he went on he posted a Nazi meme on Facebook that blew up. He lost a bunch of deals, brand deals and things like that. His career got massively tanked. He didn't go away though. And now he's recently announced he's going to be trying to get into politics, because of course he is. And there's this video of him, I guess from, I don't know what it's from, but here's Pete Evans a little while back.
Our politicians here in Australia, in Victoria, in New South Wales, in Queensland, in Western Australia, the Prime Minister of this country, of New Zealand, you look at the opposition even in New Zealand, they all have one thing in common. They're fucking stupid people.
So, like, what's he saying there?
Like, literally dumb people, right? And I don't mean any disrespect to...
I don't mean any disrespect, but politicians are stupid fucking people.
It's just the fact.
It's just the fact, by the way. It's just the fact of my opinion. Who said that? Who was the one that said that? It's just the fact of my opinion. That was someone. So in that entire 30-second clip, he decided to make the point that politicians, all politicians, are just fucking stupid people. That's just the fact. Based on nothing. Like, he just had no actual stance to take there. His only argument was that people who are in politics are fucking stupid people. That was it. That was the end of the discussion. And now recently he has decided he's going to go into politics himself. So what does that say about him? Oh, goodness. Yeah, based on them disagreeing with him. Yeah, my opinion is fact is reality is religion. Yes, I'm off my meds, but it's not relevant right now. Former MasterChef judge, Insta-influencer, and conspiracy theorist / right-wing nutjob. Yes, pretty much. That's how he comes across. That's how he is. And he's now going into... I had to get those sandals off my feet. He's now going into politics himself. I'm not sure what exact role he is trying to get into, but he was seen in Parliament House recently with another big wanker on the right whose name eludes me at the moment. Big fat guy who I can't remember the name of. Who is also a conspiracy theorist fucknut who doesn't believe COVID is real. Anyway. Needs a new jacket, one that helps him hug himself. Wildfires happen in Australia. Australian Prime Minister, hippity hoppity, that plane ticket to Fiji to fuck off is now my property. Oh, goodness. You don't understand how anyone can say we should value traditions that oppress others, which is basically the entire conservative platform. Yes, it is. It basically boils down the conservative platform is traditionalism. You know, you look at the phrase conservative. Anyone who calls themselves a conservative, all you need to do is look at the meaning of what conserving is. You know. Now, I think you look at the phrase conservative and you can see some good in it, in the sense that, like, we want to conserve the government. Not the government. Fuck the government. We want to conserve the environment. Sorry. You know, environmental conservation is a good thing. But the definition of conservative is averse to change or innovation and holding traditional values. Which essentially means, you know, these people really don't like any sort of progressivism whatsoever. And if you're a conservative of any kind who is not a cis-het white man, then conservatism does not benefit you in any way, shape, or form. And even then, there are many, many cis-het white men who are going to be harmed under a strict conservative platform anyway. You know, they claim being a progressive is bad, progress is good, change is inevitable, folks need to learn to deal with change. And with all the radical policy making that we're sort of seeing in the world today, and the radical shift in particularly aggressive conservative policies, again, the trans stuff in Arkansas and things like that, my hope, fingers crossed, is that they see that the conservative platform is failing and they're trying every possible thing in their power to grasp onto it while it's in its dying clutches. I'm not saying conservatism is going anywhere, because a lot of major conservative people are very, very wealthy, which is one of the major problems. But I think there are certainly a lot of conservative people who are seeing that their way of life is going away and they're desperately trying to hold on to it as much as they can. Conservatives are the most extreme examples of people who don't want change. That is their ideology. Taking their fear of change and extending it to domestic policy. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Neoliberals. What is a neoliberal? Hang on. Contemporarily used to refer to market-oriented reform policies such as eliminating price controls, deregulating capital markets, lowering trade barriers, and reducing, especially through privatization and austerity, state influence in the economy. Is that what you mean? Trans people are almost banned from every state from playing sports. I think there are a few. There are at least a few. There are at least a few states in the US, at least 8 states where you can compete without having been on hormones, and 17 of them in which you need to have been on hormones for at least a year before you can compete in sports, in school sports. But there are a number of states that outright ban you, in the schooling situation at least. Beyond that, I think it's more of an individual sporting organization decision to make after they're outside of school. You know, you're going to go wash up before you overflow from all this joy. Speaking of joy, author Jonathan Cron spoke to conservative activists about conservative principles. All right, let's watch this. Let's give this a crack. Let's see what this is. I can't hear it. Did I mute the tab? I did. Alright, let's turn this up a little bit, but not too much, because last time it started to peak the microphone or what have you.
Well, I am very glad to be here today, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the principles of conservatism, and I only got 2 minutes, so I better make it quick.
Yeah, that was very loud.
in the book, first of all, let me start why I decided to write this book. During the election, I noticed that there were so many people throwing around the word conservative and liberal and socialism. And so I decided that there were too many people who threw the term conservative around who didn't understand what they were talking about. They didn't understand what conservatism was. They didn't understand conservatism as a base of principle, but they understood it as a base of policy. Many people have come up to me and said, so you're a Republican, you know, you get up there and you do this.
Yeah, you decided this, did you? You 12-year-old kid? Jonathan Cron. At least he's an adult now, but back in 2009, you know, I'm 12 years old, and what is conservatism? If this kid isn't 12, I'm officially a fucking boomer. He might be one of those kids where it's like he's like 19 years of age, but he just never went through puberty.
Republican stuff, and you're talking about politics, and I always have to tell them that no, conservatism is not about the party, because the party's merely the shell. It's the inside, it's the filling that really means something. So I want to get that straight. But in the book, I define conservatism, and as I believe it is fit upon four.
This kid wrote a book. Yeah, this is what puberty blockers do.
Categories of principle: respect for the Constitution, respect for life, less government, and personal responsibility.
It's not about the party, it's about the racism. Hey, Black Hat. We're watching this kid, Jonathan Cron, talking at the 2009 CPAC. Oh my god, that screen grab, though. And, yeah, less personal responsibility? That's what it sounded like. John Doyle syndrome. This is why you shouldn't tell kids they're special. The feeling, you say. Facts don't care about your feelings. Perfect pause screen. Somebody can screen cap that if you want. When I'm a partner, that can be an emote. Motivation to get me to partner, folks.
I believe that this is the key, that principle itself is the key to conservatism. Because in many ways, if you do not have a principle base, you do not have policy. And if you do not have policy, in many ways, you do not have an ideology. The key also to conservatism is to go over power. Many people in other ideologies think that it is the key to have ideological power and fervor. In the conservative viewpoint, we believe that it is principle-based. It is the people first, the people's rights, based upon principled views. And I believe that this is the key to the conservative viewpoint and its effectiveness in America.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely over-enunciates the fuck out of everything. It's so annoying. Yeah, what is he on about? He's not doing another perfect screen grab. It looks like a truck's about to hit him. Anyway.
So as I close and as I get ready to leave, I want you to understand, I want the American people to understand, that conservatism is not an ideology of feelings or romanticism, as some people like to say. It is an ideology of protecting the people and the people's rights. Thank you.
That was 2 minutes of a kid saying nothing and an audience full of middle-aged men cheering him on. Like, what? Did he say anything? Can anybody point out an example of him saying anything during that whole segment? Because I sure as fuck can't. He became a liberal, by the way. Hang on, let me look him up. He'll make a great politician. Yeah, born 1995. So in 2009, he was 14. He still looks like he's 14, unless this is just a picture of him from when he was 14. Like, this is his Wikipedia profile. Like, it was definitely a case of a bunch of buzzwords being thrown together in a way that, you know, if you knew the specific way he was coding his message, then yes, you'd understand it. But that was essentially, that would by friend, blah, blah, blah. That by friends, that my friends, sorry, was the definition of an echo chamber. Everyone in that room already knew exactly what he was going to say and already agreed with everything that he was saying. He didn't say anything to that audience that knew every single thing he was announcing there. He was well aware of everything that he was saying, and they were all well aware of everything that he was saying. So no change was had, no discussion was made. It was just a bunch of people patting themselves on the back and masturbating. Like, that's all it was. Anywho. Nobody acknowledged your joke. His cadence is very Zodiac Killer. I mean, Ted Cruz. I acknowledged your joke, Rena. I was reading. Anyway, well, no, I wasn't reading. I was talking. I was rambling like Jonathan Cron here. Conservative. Conservatives. Servatives means people in a fictional language from the video game Legend of Mordor. Conservatives are con artists. It's been confirmed. Wait, okay, Sammy. Jonathan Cron, Krohn. Yo, Stream Glue. How's it going? What's going on? What's happening? So yeah, that was a thing. That was a whole thing. Jesus. You know what I hate? You know what I hate, my friends? A little thing called a mouth ulcer. I got one right here. On the inside of my lip. It's right there. You might be able to see how it's a little bit red. Yeah. The inside of my lip is irritable. I keep biting the fucking thing too. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. Love that for me. And I'm fucking living with it right now. It's fucking stop. Ugh, I hate it. So, speaking hurts. Talking hurts. I'm in pain. I'm in so much pain. Anything with my mouth, any kind of pain in the mouth region is a fucking yikes for me, dog. It's a fucking yikes for me, dog. But at least my nails look cute. Can we acknowledge the nails? Yes, the fuck we can. Sparkly, matte nail polish. Winona!
You are now one of us.
Thank you for gifting 3 tier 1s to JMM1610, Rundo, and HRRT Nouveau. Legend, you are, Winona. Love your face. She's living in Spain.
You are now one silent.
Of us. Okay, so... I want to read about this kid now. I want to know what the hell happened here. Changing political views.
You are now one of us.
One of us. One of us. Gooble gobble. Gooble gobble. Okay, so in 2011, the French conservative media Nouvelle de France revealed that Jonathan Cron was not conservative anymore. In 2012, he confirmed to Politico he no longer considers himself a conservative and in fact takes a liberal point of view on many issues, including same-sex marriage and the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare. He said that if he were old enough to vote in the 2012 presidential election, he would have voted for Obama. He refused to describe himself as a liberal, instead rejecting ideological labels entirely. Cron attributes his reading works of philosophers such as Nietzsche and Wittgenstein. He said that he rejected social conservatism at first, before rejecting other conservative viewpoints. Cron stated that he matured and described his 13-year-old self as naive. I mean, that's definitely how that comes across. Like, this is the thing, right? I want to say that conservative viewpoints, and this comes back to the way that I have described myself when I was a little bit younger, not too much younger, like still adult age, but not very politically savvy. We were talking about Jonathan Cron, this kid who spoke at a CPAC in 2009, who was 14 at the time. And as we've discussed in the video so far, everything he said was just broad statements of nothing. And those broad statements of nothing were spoken to a captive audience of conservatives in a room that all agreed with everything that he was saying in the first place. And I feel like that is, generally speaking, the way that conservative politics works. Is they say a bunch of stuff that's very easily accessible, which is why I think in 2018 Cron came out as bisexual on Twitter. Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, I know there is more depth to conservative politics than I'm giving it credit for right now, but, like, you know, the way I look at it is you can explain a lot of conservative viewpoints in... This is the problem, right? A lot of conservative viewpoints can be made convincing through really easy to understand language. Whereas if you start to unpack a lot of more, I guess you could say, liberal leftist viewpoints on certain political issues, it takes a bit more time because there's more nuance to it. But I've often heard the point made of like, oh, I spoke to my conservative grandmother about universal health care the other day, and she changed her mind around on it by the end of the conversation. Like, once you take the time to explain the intricacies of certain issues, then leftist politics, or left-leaning politics, left stuff is by definition more challenging because you're learning more about the way things work. And this is why it's kind of why it's highly amusing that people like Ben Shabibo, as you mentioned, Devin, will go straight for that facts and logic and reason thing, when a lot of the arguments they're making are not based on facts and logic or anything like that. They're based on riling you up on what you think is logical, in the same sense that 5-6 years ago, 7 or 8, whatever, how many years ago, the internet was ramping up its hatred of of trans and non-binary people online, right? This has been going on for a while. We're just sort of hitting an apex point now. I hope it's an apex point and starts cascading downwards with regards to how much hatred there is towards the trans umbrella community. But back then, in my deep repressive, suppressive mode that I was in, I would look at how often people were making attack helicopter jokes, how often people were making how many genders are there jokes, yada, yada, yada. I enrolled in my first attempt at a sociology course back in about 2018, and they opened the course in the introductory lecture with tell us what the difference is between sex and gender, and I rolled my eyes. I was in that state because they teach you, these kind of right-leaning conservative viewpoints teach you that, let's just use the basic biology example. Oh, basic biology says there's boys and girls, so you associate that knowledge. You tuck that knowledge away, and you just say, okay, that's how that works, I'm never going to change my opinion on it. And that's how conservative politics works. It's always been this way, so why change it? It's just logical. It's just rational to think this way. And anyone who's going, being so wildly ridiculous, and they nitpick and they pick the most extreme examples to try to make the left look as crazy as humanly possible. Don't get me wrong, we have some crazy-ass leftists, without a shadow of a doubt. But they pick the craziest examples to make the left look worse and make their points look stronger. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's queer. Good example of this, Republicans run on keeping taxes low in my area when they're really just saying that to keep retail taxes low because of the tourist industry and the real estate industry lining their pockets. Forgot Streamer Glitchcraft is doing their charity stream tonight. Sounds good. Might come back periodically. Sounds good, Evelyn. Have a fun time. Ben shall be no more. How hard is everyone deserves a decent life to explain to people? I can't understand how people think this is a bad thing. Yeah, that's another discussion. That comes back to a lot of... let me think. It comes back to a lot of racist leanings. The whole idea of everyone deserves a decent life. So if we say that we want to lift people in poor black communities out of poverty, out of crime, if we want to lift them out of that situation, what we want to do in that scenario is put government funding into services and education and training and jobs and things like that that will give them a higher standard of living, a higher quality of life, and change things around in their communities. But instead, the conservative argument is there's so many gangs, there's so much violence, there's so much crime in those communities. What are we going to do? We need harsher, stricter punishments on these criminals. That's the stance they take, as opposed to reformative stances. Take the taxes and put them into community building interests, for example. They keep wages low, saying raising them will hurt small businesses, that small businesses make up 94% of the total amount of businesses in the area. Not mentioning that 94% only employs 30% of the total workforce, and 90% of that 94% doesn't even pay a minimum wage. Fucking Christ. Well, that's a bit shit. Regarding old-fashioned biology point of view, you changed your dad's mind by saying, I wouldn't be so proud of not having learnt anything since high school. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people have a very high school mindset. A lot of people reach a certain point of peaking intellectually in high school, and they never change their viewpoints on things. And that's a failing of the education system to begin with. Let's not act like high school is even a good education system to start with. We're taught a lot of things that we don't need in school, and we're missing a ton of things that we do need in school. There's a lot of there's a lot of, life skills, for example, that are just not present in schooling. Then the best bit is that they push NIMBY policies to help the tourist and real estate industry. They do this by promoting unsustainable development in our rural areas that are predominantly sensitive wetlands that they fill and build on. Yeah, the whole idea of this became an issue recently in Australia. All of the flooding. There are a number of areas in Australia that are a lot of suburbs that are just built on floodplains. Areas that should be allowed to flood. Instead, they're building real estate on there. Which is a bad thing, obviously, because it makes flooding worse. There you go, Fox. No, yeah, you're right, Retro. They need direct resources. They need... they don't need external services or anything like that. They do need direct resources to fix the issues that are present there. In the end, property taxes go up, property values go up, and people keep voting the same Republicans into office because they support small businesses and will keep taxes low. Yeah. There's a lot of convenient workarounds to keep Republicans in, and just general right-wing politicians in office. Why do people commit crime? I don't know, probably just think it's fun. Yeah. They never consider the fact that a lot of the reasons that minority communities in the United States in particular, just as an example, are so entrenched in crime. Well, Fox, honestly, the whole crime is bad argument is dismissive of the fact that what we consider crime is dictated by keeping certain people comfortable in life, for one thing. And is directly, like, a lot of the criminal justice system today is still inherently racist. You know, you can still have a white man steal... I don't fucking know. What's it gonna... Like, steal jewelry? You know, commit a jewelry heist, whatever. No, something smaller. You know, you could still have a white man and a black man commit the same petty theft crime. And statistically speaking, the white man is going to get off with a much lesser charge. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. It's like a white man can still be charged with the same crime that a black man can be charged with. But the criminal justice system is designed in such a way that people living in impoverished areas are generally led towards crime to cope with the awful circumstances in which they are basically forced to live in. You know, there's a reason there are so many poor black communities in the United States. It's because the United States has been structured in such a way to keep those people in those communities. And thus, it's just a perpetual cycle of them being unable to get out of a very difficult living situation. So crime becomes prominent. Does that make sense? And then crime becomes a beneficial business for the state. I hope that elucidates the point I'm trying to make. Other day, Doe did a great stream on the French legalists. Would recommend watching the VOD. That's an idea. I should watch more. Is she still... Is that her name? ExiliaX? I don't know what her fucking name is on Twitch. I can't spell it. What's her fucking name? I don't know what her fucking name is. Doe, Lexi, change your fucking Twitch name. Also, I want to raid her, but I don't know when she streams. Last streamed 3 days ago. What's her usual streaming time? Because if I see her live at some point, remind me so I can raid her. Anyway. Yeah, fuck for profit prisons. She's a lesbian, good. I like lesbians. I'm a lesbian. Pointed out today the cops push homeless people aside and away for nothing and said the cops are dicks. And he said they're just doing their job. Yeah, no, they're not just doing their job. Yeah, crime is pretty pog. Cops... We were going to do an ACAB stream. We were gonna do straight up ACAB stream. Because we were going to talk about the Derek Chauvin case. Let's talk about this particular... let's talk about this particular thing here. Oh, you just saw that said why. That was a troll, not an actual question. Oh, you were talking... I thought you meant Lexi's a lesbian. I'm a lesbian too. I thought you meant Lexi's a I wasn't even paying attention. Oh yeah, there's even more... Oh my god, dude. There's even more on this guy, on Matt Gaetz, and fucking every time I see some kind of a still of him, he's even more evil looking. He looks like The Mask. You know what he looks like? He looks... Have you seen The Mask? The original The Mask movie? With Jim Carrey? Spoilers for if you have not. But at the end of the movie, the bad guy gets the mask and puts it on, and this is what he looks like. He looks absolutely vile, and then... You just do a little bit of... This is a caricature of Matt Gaetz' face. That's... I cannot stress how much of a similarity, like Jesus, Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth fucking Copeland, one of the most psychotically religious people on the planet, who looks like the incarnation of Satan himself. By the way, I like the fact that all of these... You mentioned young Kenneth Copeland, and if I go on Google, there are no modern photos of him. I mean, maybe that's about as close as you'd get, but like all of these are older photos of him when he was younger. Like, where's a 2021 photo? That's getting close. Oh, it says 2018. I don't know. I've seen some footage of him relatively recently, and he looks even more like his flesh suit is melting off. I don't know what it is. Oh yeah, he's had a ton of work done. Absolutely he has. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire televangelist. Of course he's had plastic surgery. Of fucking course he has. I wish I had the money to get plastic surgery. Get my nose taken in, get my brow ridge pulled back. Fucking hell, dude. That'd be sick. I've not said what the thing was. He's one of the Fantastic Four. I've forgotten. Yeah, I've forgotten what the thing was. Anyway. He's a fucking Nazi. He looks it. He's a Nazi sex predator. What a shock. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit more of a... bit more recent. I mean, zooming in and like the JPEG compression just adds to the effect, honestly. Quite a few of the images in that search are from a recent interview where he basically refuted a direct Bible quotation. Really? I didn't know that. There we go. Maybe I just have a certain biased image in my head of him looking specifically much worse. Nia, QT, welcome to the Rogue Room. How you doing? You just have this little tooth on the bottom that juts out and would like it fixed. That's an idea. Yeah, I've thought about getting my teeth, like getting braces or something like that. He still looks younger than Prince Philip. How can we say this man is a prince? We should be calling him Corpse Philip. Like this man is a necromancer. Mark my words. This man is a necromancer. He has to be sacrificing babies and draining their blood to fuel his continued sustained life force. Don't ask me how. Yeah, Philip died 15 years ago and Lizzie just reanimated him. We're not doing royal drama just yet. Yeah, he for sure consumes baby blood, probably bathes in it. You know that conspiracy a little while back about that conspiracy a while back that hospitals were stealing babies from expectant mothers after they'd given birth, and there was this conspiracy theory that they were stealing the babies and selling them to the black market for organs. Yes, I'm not kidding. I'm serious. And I think what's actually going on, is, at least in the UK, is they're stealing babies from expectant mothers, from birth-giving mothers, and they're selling them to the royal family so that they can keep Prince Philip alive. So it's technically true, but they're draining the babies of their blood so that he can bathe in it, and they're frying up the organs so that he can eat them, and that's somehow how he keeps alive. I don't know how. She does not sacrifice corgis, she sacrifices 2 corgis. Must go now. Alrighty, have a good one, Detroit. Thank you so kindly for hanging out. Yeah, he's definitely got some Sheev Palpatine energy. What's up, Silo? How's it going? Where am I streaming from? Australia. Yeah, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh, goodness. Oh. As a resident of Turf Island, you can confirm. Oh, just frustrated with Twitch. I'm always frustrated with Twitch. I want Twitch to stop being garbage sometimes. That would be nice. Twitch has a habit of being garbage at times. That's just a theory. A conspiracy theory. I've never watched whatever the game theory... I guess it's the game theorists. Never watched any of those videos. I am not familiar with their work. So there you go. There's a thing that you know about me now. Beagles are awesome, as are schnauzers. I think you've spelled that correctly. Schnauzers. Wasn't MatPat involved in the controversy? Or am I thinking of someone else? They're a bit shit, to be honest. Was it MatPat or was it someone else? But that's just a controversy. MatPat and Markiplier are the two good YouTubers left. So what's this? Australia is at it again. A moment octopus hurls itself at a man and daughter captured on video. Let's watch this. Alright, hang on a sec. Okay, what have we here? Let's watch this thing. It's an octopus.
Oh, golly.
Come on. Don't load forever. Is that it? Is that the entire footage? Or is there more to it? I think that's all of that's it.
Oh, golly.
Okay, that was yeah. How is the octopus doing that? Because he's angry. It's an angry octopus. Somebody wrote a whole ass article on this. There's a whole article on an octopus flinging itself at someone. It's an angy octopus. Can we get some angy octopus in chat? Now I just can't help myself. Now I just can't help myself. Okay. I need to make you aware of something. Okay. I need to make you aware of a thing here really quickly. This is a thing what you can buy. This is a thing what you can buy, friendos. I'm just gonna shill for this. They're not paying me at all. That one's got fire in its eyes. You can get an Angie octopus as a plushie. Oh, that one's cute. We need Angie octopuses all on stream. Everyone needs an Angie octopus. Look. I need him. Oh, they got other ones. There's the one. Oh my goodness. There's other ones. I think the octopus is particularly cute though. I don't have one. I need one. I'm a child. Dude, I'm a fucking child. This is the great thing about going through a second puberty, right? Is you get to relive that childlike glee. It's a narwhal. There was a narwhal. You get to, you know, re-experience liking stuff for the first time and being able to freely express it. It's awesome. Angie octopus. What do we got here? Let's look at Angie octopus. Octopuses may punch fish hunting partners out of spite. It's hard to see what's going on. Oh, I see. Neat. Oliver. Oliver? Is it Oliver? Oliver Salmon? Welcome to the broker. Yeah, the octopus is just like, fuck you, fish. Fuck you, fish. I like how half the video has got the end card thing. You just sent me... Did you really? Did you send me $20 on coffee to buy the fucking octopus? You did. You sent me $20 on coffee, buy the octopus. Alright. Okay. Pick a color. So we've got, the first one is Day and Night, Aqua and Light Pink, Heart and Broken Heart, Fire Eyes, Blue and purple, which is honestly like such a vibe. I would go that. Polka dot and shimmer. Black and grey. Double blue. Double pink. Green aqua. Green and purple. Oh my goodness. That has given me feelings in my loins. Oh. Sunset and mermaid. Or red and yellow. Red and yellow is kind of basic, bitch, isn't it? That's just tomato sauce and mustard. That's just tomato sauce and mustard. That's what that is. I need some votes. I can't really do a poll with all these options, though, is the thing. Green and purple. Green and purple. Green and purple. I do like the green and purple. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Pre-order. We are restocking this, expected to ship between May 1 and July 1. Okay, we're gonna... Oh, hang on. There are other ones that are available now. Green and purple is on pre-order. There are other colors. What's that? What did I do there? So, for example, day and night is available. Fire Eyes is available. Polka dot and shimmer is available. I don't like that one. Double pink is available. And red and yellow is available. So I could either order the green and purple one and just wait and see how long it might get here before my birthday, which is July. Double pink. We could go double pink. That'd be cute. I do quite like the day and night one, honestly. On its own merits. This is difficult. Okay, so hang on. We got 1, 2, 3. Dismiss that one. I don't want that. So hang on. I have an idea. Let's go with the ones that are available. Give me a sec. Fine, we'll add the ugly one in too, since we've got the option for it. Alright, here you go. I'm gonna give you folks 5 minutes to decide this one. Here you go. Which octopus? I gave you 5 options. I've given you 5 minutes. I'm gonna take a quick break. We'll come back. I'm gonna try to be as quick as I can because I don't want to miss the poll results. But anyway, don't go away, folks. Be right back. Ta-ta, I'll be back in a minute. Why do we have a tie? I can't buy 2 of them. I'm back. I made that as quick as I possibly could. Anywho, let me just turn my volume down on my music and come back from this screen. We're back. How's it going, folks? So Day and Night is winning with 7 votes. Polkadot and Shimmer, how dare you? If you make me buy that atrocious monstrosity, I will scream. I will fucking scream. I swear to God, I will scream. Day and Night is bringing up the lead at the moment. Oh my God, you're fucking kidding me. There's something wrong with you people. I'm just gonna outright refuse the poll. Like, if you have to be kidding. You have to be fucking kidding. 60. Somebody save it, please. I don't want the ugly one. Stop the count. Stop the count. Only 2 for Fire Eyes. No, Fire Eyes is pretty badass, isn't it? Oh, that one's just angry. I just noticed that one is just angry. It's just pure angry. There's no happy. 21 votes for Polkadot and Shimmer. Why did I say anything? Hello, Kawi. How you going? Fuck the poll. Get what you want. I like the green and purple, but of the ones available, these are the ones we're looking at. Double pink, red and yellow, and this horrendous nightmare. Come on, come on. Day and Night. Pull it forward. Pull it through Day and Night. Come on. How do we have so many votes? Jesus Christ. What is going on here? How is this so contentious? Oh, fuck. We're gonna order an angry... What the fuck? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Day and Night, Day and Night, Day and Night, Day and Night. Pull it ahead, pull it ahead, pull it ahead. And the... Oh! Winona contributing 410 bits to pull it ahead for Day and Night. Oh my God. That is a poll with over 100 votes in it. How did that even happen? Fucking Christ. Voter fraud. Day and Night wins. Let me try something.
Another round.
Day and Night wins.
Fatality.
Rena, thank you for the 10 bits. Oh, bought bits just to influence the election. That's how it works in real life anyway. Fully voted Day and Night. Like you didn't just enter the stream. Oh no, it won by 1 vote. It won by 1 vote. If this is not an indication of like quite literal real world political situations, we had 2 parties.
Another round on you.
We had Night and Day and Polkadot and Shimmer were our 2.
Evil Polkadot and Shimmer.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Draco.
Another round on you.
999. Let's make it round 11. Oh my goodness. Thank you so kindly for all the bits, folks. Draco, Rena. That's quite frankly a nice little microcosm of the 2-party electoral system. Our 2 parties were Day and Night and Polkadot and Shimmer, and the other options were just like fringe parties that nobody really, you know, people who had specific, you know, they specifically like those parties, but they're very, very minimal parties. 45 views and 49 votes for Day and Night. Went full conservative mask. I just wanted to vote for the ugly one for the chaos of it. I mean, you can like it if you like, but that's the kind of thing I'd buy for my daughter. She would like that. And I look at it and I think, that's tack. I'm sorry, Lily. I love you, my daughter, but that is tacky. This one's cute. This one's cute. Okay, we're gonna buy the Day and Night one. I don't know how long it'll take to get here. Shipping and tax calculated at checkout. Thank you so much for deciding that for me, I suppose. That was fun. That was fun. There we go, found it. No, that's not it at all. Don't do that to me. Jesus. Here we go. I'm going to order it online. I'm going to order it now. Oh, no. I would not like to receive news and special offers via email and SMS. Jesus goodness fucking Christ, no. Do I want economy shipping, priority shipping, or FedEx International with tracking $51 USD? Jesus Christ. It's 6:40. Gotta get going ready, Arena. Have a good one. I think I'm just gonna go economy shipping. This is like customers outside the USA may have to pay import taxes or fees on their order. Click here for more info. Let's read about this. So my options are 12 to 24 business days, no tracking. 10 to 18 business days, limited tracking. What do we think? I think I'm just going to stick with economy. I don't care that much. I'm actually buying something on the internet. What in the world? I'm going to use my PayPal. So what are you folks up to tonight? What are you getting up to? What are you doing? I'm buying an octopus. Okay, so it works out to about 30 bucks. Works out to $29.13 Australian. Not bad, not shabby, not too shabby. I'd probably pay that if it was there in store. No, I don't want to create an account. There you go, your order is being processed. We have ordered an octopus. Octopus have been ordered. It have been ordered. Where's the Ozpost latent broken option? Oh, okay. Waiting for Grubhub to deliver your food, then you should go to bed after eating. You gotta work tonight. Oh, that's a bit shit. Wait, what the fuck? We hit our daily sub goal. Why did it... Where'd our subs go? What the fuck? Sneak, welcome to the Rogue Room. How are you doing, lovely? The sub goal just got thrown out the window. We just spent all the sub money on an octopus. We spent Kez's money on the octopus. We spent the sub money on the octopus. So the subs got taken away. Is that actually a thing? Like, is that a thing that can happen? Is it possible that I might have accidentally triggered my my Streamlabs extension to reset? Because it shouldn't have. We've most certainly had subs tonight. We've had a Prime sub. We've had a Tier 1 sub. We've had 3 gifted subs, at very least. Go to the dungeon and there's only DOMs. Okay, so... Want to know more about Rogue's setup? No, thank you. We don't need to. This is interesting. Apparently the Chauvin trial was playing on televisions in gyms in the US. Do we want to read about why the cop's bad? Do we want to read about why the cop's bad? This is an article from 2017. Sorry to switch the attitude of the stream really heavily down a dark path here, but we have been talking about crime, we have been talking about cops, and I think it might be worth reading this particular article, and perhaps watching this video, what defund the police actually means. Do we want to watch this first? This is a PBS video. I feel like we should watch this. Hello Merlin, how you doing? Be crime, do gay. Exactly. What percentage of people that commit crimes are gay? Do we have stats on that? Because the conservatives love to bring up the black crime statistics. What about the gay crime statistics? Given that we are so outwardly proud of being criminals. How do you tell a BDSM enthusiast from a D&D player? You ask them what a DM is. What if they're both? Alright, should we watch this? Crime be gay do. Yes. Let's watch this video about... I'm drinking... it's a blood orange flavored wine. It's kind of just average. There's nothing really special about it is the problem I have with it. Conservatives here are afraid of the militant gay agenda. If anyone asks, it's true. Well, true. Do gay crime be? I think, therefore I'm gay. Anyway.
Just the phrase, defund the police.
Let's start with
Were you
this.
surprised that it's become as prominent a national conversation as it has?
In this amount of
from,
time frame, I first started.
This is from right around when the Black Lives Matter protests were really ramping up, if I'm not mistaken. This video.
Started thinking about and sort of really sitting with the concept of what defunding looks like maybe 5 years ago. In the early days with BYP 100, the New York City chapter, and the movement for Black Lives, coming out of Ferguson and Mike Brown, and there have been people from decades previous who have been, sitting with similar questions in organizations like Critical Resistance, folks such as Miriam Kaba, Angela Davis, Ruth Wilson Gilmore. And so, this is a part of a broader legacy, but in recent years, I've really been thinking a lot about it and incorporating it into the framework of my broader research, and also
I hate how my chat box is right over his face.
And so, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Because this scene is set up in such a way that if we were watching a video of someone, they'd be right in the middle there.
I've been discussing it with people, but it's sort of been niche for years. And then within the span of 2 weeks, it went from something I was talking about in a niche way to being a trending topic that pretty much, I don't know if anybody has not heard of it. And, just to clarify some of the confusion, I think when people hear defunding, they just think moving something.
There we go.
But the broader framework, what it's actually called is invest, divest. And so the framework is that divesting from policing, as well as other systems of punishment like jails and prisons, and reinvesting those funds into community resources and institutions, which we know the safest communities don't have the most police, they have the most resources, but also alternatives to emergency response.
Monk, for fuck's sake. It's a trans agenda that they're more efficient than cars. Wait, I'm thinking trains. I fucking love it.
That don't center around policing, because this system of policing, it's not creating the safety that it's allegedly supposed to do. And it's disproportionately that's true for Black people and other marginalized communities of color, but it's true for the entire nation, because, in many ways, in different instances, for safety and for interventions, the options are calling the police and leading to prison and arrest and punishment, or doing nothing. And so many people are forced to oftentimes do nothing for all kinds of, forms of harm and conflict, including different forms of patriarchal violence, because the options, and that's why we know there's so much forms of harm and conflict and violence that are underreported, because the options are set up in a way that it doesn't lead to the sorts of accountability and safety and transformative justice and giving people what they need in order to be, repaired and restored and healed from harm, and also the opportunity for people who engage in harm to be transformed through that process. Because we sort of operated for decades on this model of punishment and vengeance, which is why the United States incarcerates the most people in the entire world, and the people on the front lines of that are police, right? We know if people end up in prison, someone has to be putting them there.
There we go. A little bit of a breakdown. I kind of said a number of the things that he said there earlier as we were talking about crime. So defund the police is, it's not... it's about reframing the justice system, basically, in such a way that we are not outright punishing people with just absolutely life-destroying circumstances for crimes that absolutely... Like, the punishment does not fit the crime is more often than not the norm than the exception to the rule kind of situation. Felons in the United States have no capacity to vote, and who decides if someone has committed a felonious crime, for example? Well, the justice system does. So if somebody gets sent to prison and they happen to be a person of color, and the courts decide, well, this crime under these specific legal statutes that we have dictated means you will now lose your capacity to vote, if you even ever get out in the first place. A girl without her wolf. I hope you find your wolf. Welcome to the Rogue Room. The state incarcerates the most people in the US. Oh my goodness. That's even worse. Might I ask which state that is? I'm not sure which state that is. We need professional mental health people instead of police. The problem there if I recall correctly, of course, is simply how few people there are in such a qualified position that they would be able to make that a reality. More to the point, though, the government doesn't want to make that a reality. They don't want to help people get better, you know. Because, like we mentioned before, the criminal justice system exists in such a way that there kind of needs to be. Sorry, I just decided to adjust my sub goal's position there, distracting myself entirely from the topic at hand because the sub goal broke, so I've decided I've hit 420 subs out of 5 for the day. Deal. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Be nice to have 420 subs though. Food acquired, good shit. Louisiana, okay. I really should turn my mic off when I clear my throat. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, the mental health thing. That would be the ideal situation, would be to try to... I mean, first and foremost, my main ambition for any sort of justice system... Klemev, welcome to the program. My main ambition, which is a utopian solution that's not going to work. Utopian solution that's not going to work. Prevention. You know, like we mentioned before, and like this is what he was saying... Put that money into funding the communities that are dealing with crime in the first place. And that's not just people of color communities. That's poor communities in general, places that are generally disadvantaged by society. Fund those communities and help them get into a place where people feel comfortable, people feel safe, and, you know, move people away from what we typically consider to be crime. But it also is worth noting that what we consider to be crime on a social level is still dictated by the society under which we live, the system under which we live. My cat is wandering off amidst things underneath my little makeup desk. He's making noise over there. I don't know what he's doing. Are you right? You okay there? You dickhead? Anyway. Yeah, eliminate the reason why people do things like steal or assault. Exactly. So, you know, if I see somebody, I'm going to say this outright. If I see someone going straight to assault when it comes to a confrontation, that is indicative of a lack of empathy on the part of the person. And empathy is something that you need to learn amid your childhood, amid growing up. You know, I've met quite a few people who I grew up around who do not have any empathy and would immediately jump at the chance to bash someone if they disagreed with them. If they had any sort of confrontation with them, they jump at the chance to bash them. My mother instilled consistent, like my mother being the primary parent between me and my sister, of course, definitely instilled those notions of empathy into us. And the idea, well, yeah, of impulse control as well. And despite having a ton of anger issues, I would never, under any circumstance, jump at the chance to hurt someone physically. And it's not just because of the fact that I could go to jail, which is a deterrent, but for some people it's not a deterrent. You know, the reason I don't want to physically jump at the chance to hurt someone is because I don't want to physically hurt someone. I don't want to have that guilt on my conscience that I have committed violence against someone. Not to mention it would make me a huge hypocrite. Anyway. You have to be really pressed into striking someone. Yeah, I would have to be in a corner. I'd have to be pushed into a corner, and I'd have to have no other option. I would have to have no other option before I would strike out at someone. And the thing that I worry about, and the thing that I think a number of people would probably worry about, and this just comes back to the idea of having that guilt on your conscience, is that I would not fight to deter my opponent. I would fight to kill. And I am not a violent person. I don't want to strike anyone. I don't want to do anything that would physically harm another person. But if someone comes at me physically, I'm going to immediately go for the throat. I'm going to do anything in my power to go for the kill move. Which is a bad thing. It's a horrible, horrendous thing. You know, you don't want to have that thought in your head. But it becomes that situation of, well, this person is attacking me. How do I stop them? The ultimate way to stop them is to kill them. You don't want to do that. In an ideal scenario, you might dislodge an arm or something. Put them in enough pain that they are deterred. But yeah, you've basically got to defend until they can't hurt you anymore. And how do you know what their intentions are in a violent confrontation? And it's fucking scary, and I don't want to think about it. I don't want to be in that situation. And I fear, being who I am and being outwardly who I am, that could actually be a scenario that may happen one day. And I don't want that to be a thing. The thing is that when you're in a high-stress situation, prolonged poverty, hunger, working excessive hours, lack of mental health, you are more likely to have poor impulse control. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's another thing, Retro. You have to be perfect at that death move in the first place. So just because you might know what it could take to kill a person, if you go for that and your opponent is better than you and they know what you're doing, then you put yourself in even more danger, But yeah, I just don't want to deal with the idea of physical confrontation, obviously, for numerous reasons. And yeah, sometimes when under assault, fighting back isn't the move. Sometimes escape. And that's what I mean is like when you're backed into a corner, like you've got no choice but to fight back. And there are a lot of people who get into assault situations where they're not a fighting person. There are groups of people amid certain communities who take this survival of the fittest mindset. There are a lot of people who get involved in physical violence to make themselves better at the opportunity. If someone comes at them, they get into fights so that they get better at knowing how to fight, because that's the environment they live in. Anyone around you could be a violent person, and thus you need to be prepared for it. You need to be tough enough to take the beating and dish it out again. But that's getting into a whole other subset of issues. We're talking about assault here. We're talking about legal assault here. And the time you've been assaulted, you've just crawled into a ball, which would be the best course of action. Take the bruises, take the beating, and hope they just say, oh, I've beaten you, I've won, and then they leave. But of course, I don't know. I make a great wine, Mom. Am I dispensing wisdom right now? Drunken wisdom. Listen, kids. I'm going to tell you right now, the reason you carry a pocket knife is if somebody tries to mug you, you stab them directly in the throat, sweethearts. That's what you do. Hey, Sad, how you going? You'd rather go for something that isn't lethal but will stop them, a punch to the throat. Yeah, true, if you can wind someone. A punch to the throat or a punch to the chest can generally knock the breath out of them. If you can get it off with enough force, of course. If you've ever been winded. Have you ever been winded? Just winded. As a kid, I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did, but there was some sort of impact either on my back or my chest, and all the air got taken out of me. And I was just like... and I was in complete and total shock. I had no idea what I did. I've forgotten by now. I think I might have fell off my mother's bed or something. Might have been playing around and fell off my mother's bed. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong. And my mother says to me, you've gotten yourself winded. And at the time, I'm just like, what the fuck? This is such a weird scenario. Because if you have that situation, if you've ever been hit by being winded like that, you've got no energy. You can't do anything. You're completely taken out of your element. So if you can impact that on someone, to defend yourself, of course, if you need to defend yourself, if you can get that move off, whatever that is, necessarily. I mean, I certainly know certain other moves that I learned in martial arts that can kill a person, which you should never use, of course. Of course, I'm entirely out of training for years now. Never had any such problems with being attacked or robbed. We sort of got onto this topic from a discussion from crime, and violent crime especially, I suppose. We got into the topic of assault. And now we've gotten into the discussion of what we would do in a defensive situation. Go for the John Jones eye pokes, ideally. If it's a bloke, go between the knees, between the legs. You know what's there. You really don't know how you'd react? Yeah, I don't know either. That's the thing. It's like I have a bunch of intrusive thoughts all the time. I live with them. I play out fictional scenarios in my head, which is the point of intrusive thoughts for anyone who is not aware. Our brain makes us think of really horrendous situations and puts us in them in a a hypothetical scenario to sort of get you psychologically ready for if that situation ever happens. And all of the times that there's been that intrusive thought in my head is like, what if this person violently attacks me? I turn into a horrible monster who would kill a person. And I hate that mental image of myself. So that makes it very difficult to think, how do you actually react if someone does physically confront you? When the only image you have in your head is of someone doing the worst possible thing you could, Did that once when you were a kid, you had a loft bed and fell off it, knocked all the air out of your lungs, thought you were dying and panicking, trying to crawl to the living room to your parents crying, but you got your air back before you made it there and was embarrassed. Yeah. Actually, warning, ball punches aren't effective. By the time men feel the pain in their balls, adrenaline will have taken over. There you go. There's a point. Anyway, used to carry a folding knife around all the time, but you've gotten out of that habit. My friend left her folding knife at my house. Or at least we think she did. She's lost it, seemingly. She doesn't know where this knife she bought is. She had it here at the cocktail party a few weeks ago, and now we don't know where the folding knife has gone to. We have no clue, which is kind of scary. Well, yeah, it's true. Like, adrenaline could have an impact. We've checked the couches. We've checked everywhere. We've checked under everything. We cannot find it. I have no clue where it is. A smack will put your ass out of commission for several minutes. Another thing about, if you attack someone in that region, there are most certainly people who, and this is the thing that worries me. This is the thing that honestly worries me about living where I live. There are a few MMA gyms around, and I've met a few people who go into MMA training. And it always worries me because I do not trust people who go into fighting sports. It says a lot to that person. It says a lot to me about that person. If the one sport they want to go into is the one where they have to physically hurt another person. It's like, I'm already questioning, why am I having a conversation with you? If one of your primary interests is how much can I harm another person for sport? I feel like that speaks to some really negative things about the person themselves. Wait, don't hurt me, I have COVID. I haven't thought of it as being hypotheticals. For you, it's like putting your brain putting together stimuli into a really horrendous thought that was something to do with something you're concerned with. Thank you for the posture check. There you go. Gotta start with the nut punch for it to work. Otherwise, you gotta hit him with a combination of hits just to take out a guy. It's funny you're talking about this today when you're training martial arts. You really like it for self-defense. Here's the thing. I don't disagree with the notion of taking martial arts training. There's nothing wrong with training in martial arts. Hell, there's nothing wrong with sparring, even, in a competitive sense. I do have a problem with, say, mixed martial arts and boxing, right? Where they're more of an aggressive sport. Whereas martial arts sparring is more of a demonstration of capacity, a demonstration of technique. Whereas mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, whatever other combat sports are about aggression. They're about harming the opponent. And if someone takes a keen interest in harming the opponent as a hobby, as a sport, I definitely question that person and their morals and their ethics and things like that. Yeah, martial arts isn't about hurting people. Martial arts is about technique, practice, self-control. I should get back into karate, honestly, because it's a good physical exercise as well. Spar with your work boss every week for boxing. It's like there's good fitness in it. There's good in the context of training these things. In the context of training the martial arts, wrestling, there's nothing explicitly wrong with it. But the sport aspect is where I have the issue. By all means, engage in it if you want to. Enjoy it if you want to. But yeah, I'm off-put by it. Which, we're here having a conversation about violence, so of course that would be a relevant thing. But yeah, I used to train martial arts when I was a kid. I used to train karate. And I wouldn't mind going back to it. It would be interesting to go back to it. Maybe one of these days. Never going to clock someone for no reason or go pro, just like it for the cardio, yeah? there's good fitness in fight training, and of course self-defense. If you ever needed to use martial arts to defend yourself, it's good to have that knowledge and that power and that form to you. Like, I think specifically the martial arts training I went through was advertised as karate, but also implemented quite a bit of judo. The primary goal of the school was using your opponent's body against them to win, right? So we learned a few basic strikes and kicks and things like that. But there was a lot of grappling techniques that were designed to disarm your opponent, get them on the ground so you can get away, kind of things. Not so much offensive technique, which is what I would like to get back into. I might actually look into it. Things about your direct supervisor work. She would obliterate you. Would I obliterate you? Hello, cat. Many people who were AFAB weren't allowed to do karate growing up, so you need to do it later in life. That sucks. I'm totally familiar with why that is, of course. I lift. Yeah, true. I already have strength as an advantage. Have I just taken my earring out? No, I haven't. Here I'm cat. Here I'm cat. Hey, Smudge. Where are you going? No, I'm trying to show you off. You have to be on the camera. Here you is. Here him is. What? Where do you want to go? Alright, that's enough cat. There him is. We can just talk about cats. Just got here, not sure if you already talked about it. Is there a lot of transphobia in MMA culture? I would dare say there probably is. I've heard more. I mean, there's at least some. Ronda Rousey's obviously spoken out against it. Someone who was going up against Fallon Fox said, I'm not going to fight Fallon Fox. Joe Rogan is the obvious example. It seems like there's more than likely. And I mean, transphobia is just pervasive in modern culture to begin with. But in particular with that one, they use a lot of excuses to justify making sure that certain people are not allowed to compete in it, of course. And that all comes back to that whole situation of it's a specific combat violent sport, and a lot of the reasoning they use, a lot of the way they phrase their arguments tends to lean very heavily into that whole AMAB people, assigned male at birth people, trans women, they've had 30 years of testosterone coursing through their body, changes their bone structure and all of this kind of, they use a bunch of nonsense arguments. You know who else has got bigger bone structure than most women? Other women. Like, it's a non-argument. They use a bunch of little nitpicky issues to say, their chromosomes, their hormones. Now, I think a lot of organizations that allow trans athletes to compete in fighting sports have policies that state you need to have been on HRT for at least 1 or 2 years. It's either it used to be 1 year in certain circumstances. Now it's 2. And what that ends up doing is, if you're on hormone replacement therapy, which suppresses testosterone and of course increases estrogen, particularly estradiol, and there's another one. There's a couple of different estrogen-based hormones in the body that increase certain things, and that reduces your muscle mass, reduces your strength, and one of the trans athletes I referenced for my upcoming video, which is mostly done. I promise it'll be out soon. I'm just waiting on files from 2 voice actors, and then I can release it. One of the athletes that I looked up, who was a cyclist, I believe, or a runner or something like that, their coach said to them, this person was training with a coach, and their coach said to them, look, you're anti-doping. You're doing the opposite of doping. And this person was a loser athlete. Can I just say that right now? No disrespect to them. But the entire reason I'm referencing them in the video is because they suck at their sport. They can't win against cisgender women. They're a trans woman who can't win against cisgender women, and, we're getting into that whole discussion now. Anyway, so that, I'd say there is a lot of transphobia in MMA based on misconception. and based on, you know, they say they're not transphobic. You know, I've watched videos of Joe Rogan talking about the trans athletes thing. He's like, I don't care if you're a man who wants to pretend to be a woman. That's usually the kind of terminology they use. But in this specific circumstance, they're looking for a justification to exclude trans people. You know, they're just looking for any justification they can to exclude trans people from it. And more to the point, you know, yeah, pretend to be a woman. I believe that is actually, maybe not specifically his phrasing, but it's along those lines. Anyway, how do I feel about non-binary people? Non-binary people are great. Excuse me. Love NBs. Yeah, I think Joe Rogan actually did say something to the effect of, like, not necessarily pretend to be a woman, but he has definitely used the phrasing of, like, if there was a trans person in any sort of athletics. If there was a trans person in any sort of athletic competition. Poxy, welcome to the Rogue Room. He was specifically referencing the fact that, you know, that's a man. That's not a woman. That's a man. So that kind of language. You know, that kind of dismissive transphobic language. Loki, welcome to the Rogue Room. Anyway, educate people on trans athletes challenge. I'm already doing that in the video essay. I'm kind of sick of the whole discussion. That's why I made the video. So I'm waiting for it. How you doing, Poxy? I hope you're well. Talking about trans athletes, they benefit from a few benefits. If they're male to female, overall body is bigger. There are plenty of female athletes out there who have massive differences in their body shape and body structure, so that's not an argument. The amount of kilograms of muscle is bigger. That's reduced when they go on estrogen for, like I said, 12 to 24 months. Imagine telling women to wrestle against a giant. There are weight classes. There are body type classes. How much of their hormone replacement they are doing, that's already covered in the like the code of ethics or whatever it is. What is it called? There's a list of policies that they use before trans athletes can compete professionally in these organizations that actually dictate, you know, if you want, like Caster Semenya is a good example. I think you do wrestling by class, yeah. What was Caster Semenya's situation? Caster Semenya, an intersex cisgender woman. So intersex but assigned female at birth, which is a whole other discussion we could get into, who was competing with other AFAB people. Odeka, there you go. And because of elevated testosterone levels, they had to reduce her testosterone levels before she could continue competition. You know, weight classes matter the most. Yeah, it's more a situation of weight class than anything else. But yeah, one of the main arguments I love to make is that, you know, intersex and cis. So intersex, so this is where we get into the sex is not gender discussion, right? Caster Semenya was born, I've not touched on like almost any of the Antifa stuff tonight, or James Charles and his stupid bird nest haircut. Anyway, so this is the thing. At birth, Caster Semenya was determined to be intersex. But society generally dictates there's only two genders, by and large. So we could do Antifa next if we've got time, yeah. So what ends up happening is someone who is intersex. We don't have a gender for intersex people, do we? That immediately, you know, destroys the idea that sex is gender. Anytime somebody goes, there's only two genders because there's only two sexes, well, no. Intersex exists. Sex is a binary, and gender is also a binary. But we don't. Gender is also a spectrum. No, sorry. Sex is a spectrum, and gender is a spectrum, not a binary. But there are a lot of people in society who do believe that gender is a binary and sex is a binary, and there's one, like you're one or the other, and that's just simply not how it is. There's a not insignificant number of people who are intersex, and intersex people are those who are born with reproductive organs that are a combination of either like they could be, you could have both genitalia, they could have internal sex organs, external sex organs that are a combination of what we typically assign to be male or female in terms of biology. Intersex is when you're really into copulating. Right here, Fox, have a good one. But in this specific circumstance, Caster Semenya was an intersex trans woman who was competing in not marathon running, sprinting, something like that, and had to be placed on. They had to institute a policy about someone of elevated testosterone levels. So someone like Caster Semenya had to be on testosterone blockers to reduce her testosterone levels to compete with the other athletes, despite being a woman in a gendered sporting competition. Oh yeah, we don't use the phrase hermaphrodite. That's out of date. That's outdated. Outdated terminology. And yeah, we're not going to pretend people don't exist because they don't fit your narrative. That's naive to say that. Does it have to be that complicated? Do your own thing? Well, I mean, given that, this is one of the major topics of which I'm learning, So it's kind of a big deal, but to most people it's not. And it's not my birthday yet. It's a couple of months away. Wait your turn. Yeah, it's this bullshit again. Yeah, I dispute that that's a slur. You don't get to do that. You can proselytize the cisgender all you want violently, but we won't stop existing. Yeah, we won't stop existing. You're new, you're learning. I think, given the research I have done on the trans athletes in sports situation, transgender women in women's sports, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that transgender women are absolutely not dominating women's sports in any capacity, which is the common argument used against them, and a lot of the physical evidence that they like to suggest is also flagrantly outright wrong, demonstrably. Conor McGregor is not going into women's MMA. He's just simply not. That's not what's happening. He's not going to some big, bulky, massive dude is not going to transition his gender to win at women's sports. That episode of Futurama where Bender transitions to win Olympic gold medals in the Robot Olympics is not a reality. It's never happened. It never will happen. That's not what's going on. And that's the main argument against trans athletes, is that it's men transitioning to win at women's sports. Women's sports which categorically are treated as a joke by society. By the very people making the same argument against trans women athletes. Anywho. Go ahead. Anywho, the large discussion around this. And yes, I'm just pushing the, what was I saying? Bong. If we could just accept people and not have to fill a quota. Yes, exactly. And one of the... What was I going to say? I had a thing that was relating to this. Oh, one of the arguments I've seen made with regards to the trans athletes discussion is, of course, the weight class thing. Sports should be segregated by weight class. I hate the phrase segregated. I hate to use that phrase. I don't want to use that word. Excuse me. But generally speaking, the idea of separating sports by weight classes, separating sports by perhaps specific muscle distribution, things like that, would allow for more intergender sports to occur, potentially. But there's a lot to unpack in that specific regard. I'll let the scientists of fitness deduce that one. And of course, there is always the argument that some people will make that there should be a trans league. No one's going to make a trans league. I'm sorry. That's not a solution. No one's going to make a trans league. Are you right? Are you good? My cat has discovered... my cat has discovered that the laundry basket makes for a good bed. So he's now hanging out in the laundry basket. Trans people have had access to the Olympics since the 70s, and they used the same scare tactics, we will take over the world. And guess what? That didn't work, but Fox News and Trump regurgitated the target on trans backs to rally their base. Absolutely, that's another thing. That's another thing that's highly amusing. Trump comes back after being removed from office, after losing the election, whatever, comes back and starts his new platform for how he's going to be president in the next election and what his ambitions are, and he brings up the trans women athletes thing. Give me a second here. So Donald Trump going out of his way to say that he's going to defend the integrity of women's sports. This is a man who has a Wikipedia page dedicated to his sexual misconduct allegations from women. And we're supposed to believe this? What is written on my ID card? I'm not answering that question. It says X. I wish. Anyway. Yeah. It's always a conservative dog whistle. Like I mentioned before, vast majority of society. Like, when people ask you about the sports, when people ask you about the footy ball or the tennis, maybe less so the tennis, I suppose. But, you know, there's women's football leagues, women's soccer leagues, there's a bunch of women's sporting leagues. But how often do you actually hear someone who's invested in sports talking about the women's leagues? Yeah, tennis is actually one of the few where women's leagues are routinely brought up. That was a bad example. That's not a good example there, actually, because women's tennis is quite popular. Rogue's ID card for sex, it clearly says yes, please. Oh, goodness. I'm not in America, for the record. Alright, you don't need to keep deleting messages. That's being rude now. We just as soon see professional sports as a concept end. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. You know, I don't like the idea of sports, but there are many people who do, which is why it's not going anywhere. But I see sports as an avenue for community building, an avenue for people to get into a sort of competitive but not completely outright hostile community. You join a sports team. Like, I've hung out with my best friend who routinely plays footy. She plays rugby, I think. And I've met a bunch of her friends from her rugby team. And the reason they're her good friends is because they're on the rugby team together. Like, they play the game because they want that sense of camaraderie. It's not so much about the winning, but, you know, if they win, good. If they don't, oh well. You know, it's just that sense of community building is, what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's like, it's integral, it's epitomal, you know, team building. You know, that socializing aspect. And when there are people who are constantly attacking the idea of trans teenagers in school sports, what they're doing, you know, being a teenager is one of the most social times in your life. It's where you start to form friendships that can last for years and years and years. You know, you start to develop a sense of community around, you know, common interests and things like that. And if you take those particularly athletic kids or whatever out of the opportunity to end, like those particularly trans kids is what I mean. If you start saying, well, I'm sorry, little Felicity, you're not allowed to compete on the girls' volleyball team because you were born with a penis, then you're taking away her opportunity to hang out with her friends and enjoy that, you know, that team activity with her friends, just because of some biological indicator, which then led to her having a social indicator, a social categorization slapped on her that she didn't ask for and she doesn't align with. You know, her birth certificate might say M, you know, but if she's an F by social categorization, by her own social identity, you know, and you take her out of that because you decided, the system, decided she's an M no matter what she says, then you're just stripping her of that identity. We need cooler sports, we do. Some of the sports in, like, sci-fi are badass. You know what we need to do? Unironically, I want to see high schoolers, if I was in any way influencing the high school system or the primary school system, Nerf Wars. Oh yeah, the Inconsolables thing. Send me the link. Drop the link in chat to the Spotify thing so I can fix it. I've been meaning to do that for ages. Just grab the link for me. Yeah, Gladiator. Fucking with the big foam pads. Bring that in as a sport. That'd be sick. and Nerf Wars and all that. A bit of philosophy wango. Alright. So the right to free speech is the right to be free of censorship by the government, not Twitch communities. Exactly. And it doesn't give you the right to be an asshole on Twitch channel without getting bonked. Precisely. So here's the link. We won't actually play it. Open Spotify. It is playing on Spotify. Okay. Where is it? Where were we? Was it this one? Oh, there we go. You misspelled my name. How did you misspell my name that badly? Hello, Sabercat. All right, let's change this. I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm honestly impressed. That was Calgar. I'm impressed. You managed to spell my name RobeBX. RobeUBX. How did you do that? It's spelled fine here. How did you manage to do RobeUBX? How did you get that wrong? Okay, hang on. Podcast. What episode is it? 226. I've forgotten what I talked about on there. Here we go. And we should do another one soon. We should do an accessibility podcast. There we go. If you type ! podcast, it should be sorted out now. Sorry. Okay, a little bit of philosophy. This is a dusty ass book, dude. This is a dusty ass book. Okay. Listexia. When are we bringing straight up blood sports where we put the oligarchs against each other? Yes, please. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. This seems rather relevant. I mean, philosophy always seems rather relevant, though. Immanuel Kant. I'm pretty sure Immanuel Kant is in here. What a Kant. Anyway. Soren Kierkegaard. The branch metaphysics, the approach existentialism. Actually, interestingly, Immanuel Kant came before Soren Kierkegaard. Immanuel Kant stresses the importance of freedom in moral philosophy in his critique of practical reason. Soren Kierkegaard's philosophy developed in reaction to the German idealist thinking that dominated continental Europe in the mid-19th century, particularly that of George Hegel. Kierkegaard wanted to refute Hegel's idea of a complete philosophical system which defined humankind as part of an inevitable historical development, by arguing for a more subjective approach. He wants to examine what it means to be a human being, not as part of some great philosophical system, but as a self-determining individual. Kierkegaard believes that our lives are determined by our actions, which are themselves determined by our choices, so how we make those choices is critical to our lives. Like Hegel, he sees moral decisions as a choice between hedonistic, self-gratifying, and the ethical. But where Hegel thought this choice was largely determined by the historical and environmental conditions of our times, Kierkegaard believes that moral choices are absolutely free and, above all, subjective. It is our will alone that determines our judgment, he says. Sorry, I'm struggling to stay online. Statics, welcome to the Rogue Room. Yeah, Hegel. I think Hegel's in here as well. It's Georg Hegel, not George Hegel. Or maybe it is George, I don't know. It is our will alone that determines our judgment, he says. However, far from being a reason for happiness, this complete freedom of choice provokes in us a feeling of anxiety or dread. Kierkegaard explains this feeling in the book The Concept of Anxiety. As an example, he asks us to consider a man standing on a cliff or tall building. If this man looks over the edge, he experiences two different kinds of fear. The fear of falling, and the fear brought on the impulse to throw himself off the edge. The second type of fear, or anxiety, rises from the realization that he has absolute freedom to choose whether to jump or not, and this fear is as dizzying as his vertigo. Kierkegaard suggests that we experience the same anxiety in all our moral choices, when we realize we have the freedom to make even the most terrifying decisions. He describes this anxiety as the dizziness of freedom, and goes on to explain that although it induces despair, it can also shake us from our unthinking responses by making us more aware of the available choices. In this way, it increases our self-awareness and sense of personal responsibility. Anyway, you're not so sure you believe in free will. Why do you say that? I am intrigued. Please elucidate your point, because this is a discussion that never seems to reach a conclusion, and I love that. That was Soren Kierkegaard, or rather, talking about Soren Kierkegaard. You have the most sensitive ass to nausea. That passage is too real for me. I think that's the point, though. Like, we can all relate to that concept of standing on a cliff or a tall building, you know, and we could be looking over the edge and thinking, I could take the plunge at any moment. I hate being on top of tall buildings. There's a reason fear of heights is a very common thing. Autism Awareness Day. Really? How many awareness days are we having? We just had Trans Day of Visibility. It is! Friday the 2nd of April. World Autism Awareness Day. I did not know this! As an autistic person, I was not aware of this. I really do not like the fact that the first link to it is Autism Speaks. That's a yikes. But anyway. I think it seems more likely that people's decisions are the result of their experiences and biological makeup. Potentially. Oh no, are you serious, dude? No. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's just gonna keep going. Anyway, I am an autism as well. Abby, what's going on, Draco? What's the idea you have? What if the different varieties of neurodivergence had flags too? They might well. They might well have flags, for all I know. Literally in the space of 1 week, we have Autism and ACE days. Autism, ACE, and Trans days. Wow, really? Jesus Christ, cunt. Holy fuck. Are you right? Seek help. What was that concept? Fear of choice. Oh my god, they keep going. What is this? Okay, you guys need to be on high alert because we've gotten a bot attack that's ongoing at the moment, which is great. And how much money did you spend on this, by the way? Because I'm just going to reverse it at the end of the stream. Easily. Like, I can easily just, like, once I'm done with my stream, I'm just going to remove all of these bots. So, congratulations, you've done nothing. I hope you enjoy wasting your money. Anyway, NeuroAce and Autogender have flags? Yeah, I think so. There is the thought that because in nature animals only expend as much energy as needed, but then what causes drive? Interesting. Let's come back a bit. What have I missed? Autism Visibility Day. Wait, you guys can see me? I hope not. Yes, I'm back. I'm here again. Look at this shit, by the way. This is still ongoing. I've turned off all my follow notifications. Like, you're not getting notifications. Thank you for the redeemed jelly. I don't know why that didn't show up. But anyway, like, look at this waste of time. Dude. Are you okay? Have fun. Screeching into the wind there. You're not doing anything. Why didn't the thing pop up, Jelly? Yeah, it's a bot attack, and we got trolls in here who, I don't know, have nothing interesting going on in their lives. Unlike me, I'm actually an interesting person. It's nice. Yeah, I saw your redeem pop up, Jelly, but it didn't show up in chat for some reason. Trans Day of Visibility, but the government doesn't recognize my gender, so I'm a ghost, actually. Trans Day of Invisibility. Yeah, unfortunately, Trans Day of Visibility broke, and now we're just constantly visible. It was supposed to just be one day. We were supposed to be visible for one day, and then not be visible anymore, but unfortunately, we are visible still. So we gotta... It's so annoying, dude. It's so irritating, dude. Like, oh my god. I don't want to be visible. Welcome back, Envy. How you doing? Trans liberation now, indeed. What were we discussing? We were discussing the topic of free speech. Not free speech. Free will. I'll just leave the pushing the trans agenda thing up there. I won't bother changing the title tonight. Alright, so let's revisit. Do we have free speech? Do we have free will? Do we have these things? Because I'm now intrigued. Has there been a philosopher that talks about do we have free will? Basically a product of our learned experiences, which is true, yes. That's a fair point. The UK be like, no, well, yeah. Now they can see me using the bathroom. I get so fucking terrified going into public bathrooms. I really think the idea of public bathrooms just need to go. They just need to go away. It was Descartes? Or Descartes. I don't know how you pronounce it. I've forgotten. What was that book title? I really like that quote. Experienced a ton of anxiety. This is The Little Book of Philosophy by Penguin Books, I think. No, DK, sorry. A Little Book of Philosophy. There's also a Little Book of Psychology, History, and Shakespeare. And it just tells you about various notable philosophers, which, by and large, are white men. I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway. Need to get me geek wisdom. Anyway, there is an autism flag, and it is very much an infinite symbol aesthetic. If it has the puzzle pieces on it, I don't want to hear about it. Puzzle pieces are a bad thing for autism. If it isn't real, it has legal implications. In which way? This is the thing, is like, how do we... I want to look at like some articles that might give me some ideas about free will. So that we can actually sort of break this down a little bit, but I don't know what to trust on the internet, you know. If decision making is totally dependent on our knowledge/learning, then you don't think that is really free will. I think it might be, you might be extrapolating the concept out too much though. A person with severe drug addiction would surely choose to just not be an addict. Well, arguably. I can see your point. There is research indicating that nerve impulses to move a limb, for example, start before an individual decides to act. Some people use this to question the existence of free will. See, this comes around to the idea, to my mind, this comes around to the idea of, like, what are we understanding as free will? Comparing that to what are people understanding as free speech. You know, if people come in here and I say, please don't use that kind of terminology, that argument is bullshit, and someone, like, if one of my mods knows there's a certain argument that I know is bullshit and I'm sick of seeing it, they'll delete the message, and somebody will say, oh, there's no free speech here. Of course there's no free speech here. This is my channel. I decide what people are allowed to say. I decide if I want me or my chat, my community, you lovely people, to engage with an idea, right? So, because we know the concept of free speech on a legal level is the government cannot censor your ability to speak, doesn't mean you can just go anywhere you want and say anything you want. You can't go into a cafe, like, well, no, the obvious example is the shouting fire in a crowded theater, can't say bomb on an airplane, exactly. You know, you can't go in to a very queer cafe that is a private business and start shouting about how the gays are the destruction of society. They'll kick you out. And that's not your free speech being suppressed, that's them protecting their business and them protecting their customers. That's what we understand, shout theater in a crowded fire. That's what we understand is actual free speech. And in this regard, I'm beginning to think, you know, with regards to the free will discussion, how much nitpicking are we willing to do on a micro level to disprove the idea of free speech? Free will, not free speech. You know, if we have certain scientific suggestions that say, well, people don't really have free will, or on a social level, people don't really have free will because of the circumstances of their birth, because of the circumstances of their biology, because of the circumstances of things we commonly know as nerve impulses and all these kinds of things. Are we disproving the idea of free will, or are we just looking for reasons to say that free will is not an actual concept? Is it something entirely philosophical and thus hypothetical, or is there some reality to it? If we don't have free will, what does that mean? Like, does that mean potentially we can predict the future? I don't know. Next time you're on a bomb, I'm going to shout airplane. I'm very routinely on a bomb all the time, just for the hell of it. Just going to check something. They're still going. They're still going, by the way. They're still going. Anyway, Sam Harris talks about how free will doesn't exist. Yeah, but we don't like Sam Harris anymore. He turned into a cunt. Socially constructed concept is free will, needs society to make it real. Arguably, but then everything is a socially constructed concept. You know, when we think about it, when we start to nitpick there, everything is a social concept. Every idea that we have about the world is about social constructs. You know, we made them up. We made up all of the terminology. The way we define things, the way that we have a phrase for free will, and how broad of a term that is. You know. Free will in reality doesn't exist in a vacuum neatly tucked away from all the things that have impacts on our decisions. True. The categorical perspective. Imperative, not perspective. Anyway, what's happening Well, we're getting follow bot attack at the moment, so I'm going to have to go on Commander Root Tools after the fact and remove all of those wankers. Philosophical thinking is a distraction from fulfilling needs, physiological or otherwise. There you go. I suppose, I mean, at the end of the day, you could look at that as literally any kind of distraction we have in society, though. You know, television, movies, comic books, music, any kind of entertainment, any kind of learning, all of these things are basically distractions from broader issues. You know, a lot of the things that we create in society, a lot of the things that we make under the system within which we live are distractions from our, distractions from more serious things, I guess. The brain will do what a brain does whether or not it fulfills what we think are physiological needs. Language is a social construct. Social constructs are social constructs. As someone who speaks two languages, language is not POG. I can understand that as someone who's only learned to speak bits and pieces of several languages. I should really stick to learning a language one day. That'd be a good idea. But yeah, language itself, the construction of language is quite ridiculous. Should we watch a crash course video? Can we do that? Are we allowed to watch a crash course video on determinism versus free will? Crash course philosophy? What do you think? Escapism is POG, yeah. Yeah, escapism is needed to not go crazy. This is true. I feel like, yeah, crash course may be able to better elucidate the ideas between determinism and free will. You don't think acting outside of our concept of fulfilling physiological needs is necessarily indicative of free will? It's such a vague idea. Anyway. Cat eats things he shouldn't, for example. If you have a cat, don't buy a Himalayan salt lamp. Anyway, because they'll lick it, it's poisonous to them, and it will kill them. Anyway.
Crash Course Philosophy is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace. Share your passion with the world.
Shut the fuck up.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you love your father, by which I mean you want him to be alive. And let's also assume that you don't have any attachments to your mother that you might describe as romantic. Well, guess who thought he felt the same way about his parents? Oedipus. According to ancient Greek legend, when Oedipus was born, a prophecy foretold that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So, in an act of colossally bad decision-making, his father left baby Oedipus in the wilderness, assuming he would die, and the prophecy would then not come true. But instead, the abandoned baby was discovered and raised by another family. As an adult, Oedipus learned of the prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. So, not knowing he was adopted, he left his adoptive parents in order to avoid fulfilling that prophecy, figuring that if he wasn't near them, it couldn't come true. Lo and behold, as he was trying to flee his fate, Oedipus killed a stranger in a fit of rage who turned out to be the father he had never met. He then proceeded to marry the dead man's widow, who was actually his mother, though he didn't know it. Needless to say, this is a fate that any of us would like to avoid. But for philosophers, the whole point of the story of Oedipus is there is no escaping fate.
Intriguing. I actually am not entirely familiar with the Oedipus story. Not this motherfucker, for God's sake. Brain makes decisions quite a bit before you become conscious of those decisions, throws free will for a loop, kind of. Yeah, I can see that. Biggest problem with free will is justice. Should the court be totally free? As lots of theft. Lots of left people get very angry, especially about corporate stooges like Joe Manchin, who was the chief blocker of a raise in the minimum wage, or Donald Trump, whose crimes are beyond number but is still walking free. And yes, that is hilarious.
Are we free? I mean, on the one hand, most of us have the clear sense that we are. We feel free. We feel like we make all sorts of decisions that lead to both beliefs and actions that are wholly of our own choosing, like...
I just want those bookshelves. I'm just going to say that now. They're at Discord too? Oh, for goodness sake. Are you serious? Jesus Christ. This person DM'd me and everything. Alright, mods, do your thing. I'm not going to bother with that.
that. I had oatmeal this morning because I felt like it. This view that humans are capable of entirely free actions is known as libertarian free will. And to be clear, libertarian free will is nothing like political libertarianism. Both views get their name from the word liberty, but political libertarians are all about freedom from government intervention, while people who accept libertarian free will could be anything from political libertarians to socialists. They just think that metaphysically we can act freely. So a lot of us figure that our thoughts and actions are free, but most of us also believe that every effect has a cause and that everything that happens now in the present is the necessary result of events that occurred in the past. This view is known as hard determinism, and many of the people watching this probably think that they believe in both things, that many of your actions are free and that the world is governed by cause and effect. But it turns out you can't rationally hold both views, because traditionally libertarians have defined free actions according to what's known as the principle of alternate possibilities. That might sound like a plot device for a sci-fi show, but this principle says that an action is free only if the agent, that is the person doing the thing, could have done otherwise. So truly free actions require options. Determinism, by contrast, doesn't allow options. It holds that every event is caused by a previous event, which means that an agent can never have done anything other than what they did, and therefore they are never free. But let's look at these two options more closely, and also let's look at my breakfast. Libertarianism says that my decision to eat oatmeal this morning wasn't necessarily caused by anything that happened before it. Instead...
Hello, Fader. How you doing? Found you via Twitter and loved my tweets, so you decided to come chill in the stream. Thank you. Are you able to see which users joined right before the botting? Generally speaking, yes, because we have a guest book situation where it'll tell us, and, you know, if they're spamming shit, then, obviously we can tell that. And I think they're still going at me. Let's have a look here. Jesus Christ, okay. Why are they've sent me messages in my DMs, that have add everyone in them. Anyway, Phage, I'll try to mod you on Discord, later on, once I know your name. Heard Kierkegaard while lurking, studied philosophy, so already got bonus points. Nice. We're now watching Crash Course Free Will. Fucking Christ. Determinism versus free will.
Instead, it could have been the result of non-physical events, specifically my own thoughts that originated right at that point. I ate oatmeal because I decided to eat oatmeal. End of story. But libertarianism runs counter to what we know about the workings of the physical world, with one thing causing another. So libertarians need a way to account for their view.
It's the same name. I tried searching you and it didn't come up. Hang on. You folks keep watching.
By making a distinction between what's known as event causation and agent causation. Event causation means that no physical event can occur without having been caused by a previous physical event. So many libertarians concede that the physical world itself is deterministic, like a baseball is flying through the air because someone hit that ball with a bat. But many libertarians also argue that there's such a thing as agent causation, which says that an agent, a being propelled by a mind, can start a whole chain of causality that wasn't caused by anything else. So the person who hit the ball most likely did so because they just decided to do it. By this logic, agents have the ability to affect the causal chain of the universe. They can make stuff happen on their own. But many philosophers find this idea untenable. Where would these free decisions, the ones that launch entirely new causal chains, come from, they ask? Are they simply random?
Yeah, he's on TikTok. He's one of those people who is a content creator. I think, there's two Green brothers. Is he Hank Green? I can't remember. But at any rate, he's one of those creators who's on every fucking platform and is somehow really good at it. And if I could do TikTok, I would do TikTok, but I have no idea how to do TikTok, so I don't do TikTok.
What would compel an agent to make one decision and not another? And if you can answer those questions, if you can explain what would cause an agent to act, then, well, you've just reinforced the position that actions are caused rather than free. The fact is, it's pretty difficult to find arguments that support libertarian free will. The best argument in favor of it seems to be that it just feels an awful lot like we're free. And libertarians argue that we shouldn't discount the...
TikTok is overrated, but it's hard to deny its capacity to allow content creators to grow in a significant way. I've heard a number of streamers and I've seen a number of streamers and YouTubers and so forth say they grew their channel and they got a lot of success by using TikTok. Like, once you learn how to use the algorithm in whatever way, it tends to help grow your channel. It tends to help grow your other social media. So if you're using TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram and whatever else is available to the utmost of your ability, all of those things can intermingle, and then you can grow on multiple platforms, which will lead to people finding you on other platforms, and thus your overall following grows, which is why I want to use TikTok. But I just need to figure out how to do it. Like, what do I post on there? Still amused at how Hank Green went on TikTok and said, why don't we resurrect ancient Tumblr memes? What happened to the memes of old? What? These guys have been doing this work for over a decade. That's another thing. It's like, I am just past my 3rd streaming anniversary on Twitch, and it's only in the past couple of months or so that I realized the kind of content that I enjoy doing is this kind of sit here and talk about topics, talk about issues thing. And this has led to greater success on Twitch for me as a creator, and as a result, I want to continue following this particular route.
The legitimacy of our own personal subjective experiences.
Let my tits grow in a bit more.
If we feel so free, we should seriously consider the possibility that we are. That point has a certain intuitive appeal, but if you can't come up with an argument to defend your feeling, then good philosophical reasoning recommends that you reject it, or at least withhold judgment until you can get some evidence together. So now, let's see if the hard determinists can do any better. 18th century French philosopher Baron d'Holbach said that none of our actions are actually free. D'Holbach believed that everything that's happening right now is the result of an unbroken chain of events. Everything, he said, is the inevitable result of what came before, including everything that we do. Our actions are caused in the same way that, say, home runs are caused by bats hitting balls, or tornadoes are caused by warm air systems hitting cool air systems in the right conditions. This means that humans and our actions are just part of the physical world, bound by its physical laws. This belief—
True, I don't need to post titties. I got all the ass in the world. Enough thirsting over me.
Belief is often explained through a view known as reductionism. Reductionism is the view that all parts of the world and of our own experience can be traced back or reduced down to one singular thing. So, for example, you see your mind as being capable of making free decisions. You think that what goes on in your head when you make a choice is not at all like bats and balls. But, well, mental states are brain states, or at least they're directly tied to your brain, and brain states are biological. And biological states are physical states. And the physical world, as we already said, is deterministic. There's just no room for free will in this picture. We think we're free, but we're not. And really, as scientific thinkers, why would we assume that we are? Why would we think that we're any different than everything else in the universe? What would make us so special? Libertarians are right that it's really hard to disregard the feeling of freedom. If I didn't choose to eat oatmeal this morning, why do I feel like I did? And what made me do it? But hard determinists say that the difference between the causes of human actions and the causes of physical events, like a bat hitting a ball, is that our actions have all sorts of invisible causes that happen in our brains. Specifically, when beliefs team up with our desires and our temperament, they say, you get a deliberate human action. Combine my belief that oatmeal is nutritious with my desire for healthy nourishment and the temperament that predisposes me to enjoy warm, carby comfort foods, and ta-da! You get oatmeal-y breakfast. Now, you might argue that those particular beliefs, desires, and temperaments might lead to any number of breakfast choices, cream of wheat maybe, or some granola. But if you dig deep enough, you'd find that there are factors that rule out those options, as well as every other option. Maybe I'm a little worried one of my fillings is coming loose, so I'm shying away from granola because it's too crunchy. Or I just don't think about cream of wheat very often. I mean, they don't have very good brand awareness anymore. What even is cream of wheat exactly? And the oatmeal is sitting right there in front of me. Or maybe I briefly think of making one of those quinoa breakfast bowls that are so hip right now, but my lazy temperament or my belief that I'm running late pushes me to choose the 90 seconds in the microwave option. See how it works? All you have to do is change one factor, a belief, a desire, a temperament, and you get a different outcome. Hard determinists argue that just because we can't pinpoint the exact factors that led us to an—
Oh, I wish I had the level of production quality that they have here, like the highlighting every single word as he's saying it. How the fuck do they do that?
action,
Jesus.
We could, in theory, isolate them if we knew enough about all of the beliefs, desires, and temperaments swirling around in our brains. So in this view, what we call decisions are really just the inevitable
all the animations and shit like that. I wish I had this level of production quality. Yeah, they've been doing it a long time, and they've got a team.
Results of a bunch of mental stuff combining in just the right way. And maybe it feels free, but it's not. But hold up, isn't there some way out of this? Like, what if I have someone choose my breakfast for me? Or what if I fall back on randomness by, like, flipping a coin? After all, if I just flipped a coin, then it wouldn't look like that decision was made by beliefs, desires, and temperaments. But, well, no such luck, because even if I thought I chose randomly, my decision to flip the coin, or who I asked to pick for me, was just as determined as everything else. And guess what? If you're getting angry right now about me telling you that none of your choices are free, well, that anger was determined. If you're finding this whole topic confusing or boring, yup, still determined. You think you can freely choose to stop playing this video, but if you're still watching me,
yes, I can.
Good news, that's determined too. Determinists believe that you can't help but feel and react the way you're reacting right now. You can think you're choosing to act in ways that conform to the character that you've selected and shaped for yourself, but even that choice is the result of all sorts of already determined factors about you and your place in the world. Hard determinism is tough to refute, and it has some really uncomfortable implications. It means the deeply held feeling most of us have that we actually make free decisions is just wrong. And the whole concept of personal responsibility is thrown out the window too. As Dolbach put it, we're all just cogs in a machine doing what we were always—
I just noticed it says philosophy over there.
—is meant to do with no actual volition. Oedipus had to kill his dad and marry his mom. I had to eat oatmeal. And you just had to keep watching. You couldn't turn away. Today, we learned about libertarian free will and its counterpoint, hard determinism. Next time, we'll see if some middle ground can be found between determinism and libertarianism, and I sure hope there can be. Today's episode of Crash Course Philosophy was inevitably made possible by Squarespace.
And we're not going to listen to your ad. I'm sorry. I don't want to listen to a sponsor plug. I never want to listen to a sponsor plug. But what if it's all a simulation? Well, that's even worse. Thank you. We're going to be brains in jars. It does look like the Followbot has stopped for whatever reason. So Alexi Dragon, that looks like a real name. Welcome to the Rogue Room. You're the only one that gets a follow welcoming in sort of situation. Everybody else can, all these other bots can fuck off. I'm going to delete them. And yeah, there was the suggestion Gurman made that, Jesus Christ. There was the suggestion made by Gurman that we privately invite people to the Discord. I feel like that's more trouble than it's worth, honestly, though. So I'm going to have to go and remove all of these fake followers yet again. This is like the 4th bot attack that I've dealt with in recent memory, so I'm not happy about that. I also need to pee, and we're at the end of stream, so I'm going to call it there, I think. So there we go. One of your partners, we watch streams together. Nice. Nice. Well, welcome in, Alexi. I hope you are well. And I'm going to call it there. We're going to, not my channel. I don't want to go to my channel. We're going to rate someone who's doing a gaming. Or someone who's doing something anyway. Well, Kiara hangs out all the time, so how about we go to Kiara? I've been meaning to rate Kiara for a while, so let's do this. And I will see you all on Monday. I'm taking the weekend for myself because your girl needs some R&R. So I'm going to hang out. I'm going to work on updating these channel graphics. I'm going to finish my assignment. The raid messages, hey, how are you? I don't do raid messages. I'm a lazy streamer. I'm a fucking lazy streamer. Let's be clear with ourselves here. I suck at this. I'm just good at talking into a microphone. I don't care. I want to do production quality, but I don't have the energy for it. Yeah, I'm probably going to play some Ghost of Tsushima over the weekend, honestly. I need to. I need to play some more Ghost of Tsushima because it's a fucking good game. I love the combat. I love the world. The story is pretty generic, but that's good. Sometimes I want to play a game that just doesn't have a story that requires I think. A basic revenge plot is fun sometimes. When I don't have to put much effort into it, I don't have to have some sort of moral quandary about what's going on. There's a bad guy, I'm the good guy, I'm more handsome than the bad guy is because the bad guy is made out to look monstrous and villainous, so I can kill him without any sort of moral issue. Have a good night, folks. My name has been Abby, you've been lovely. I'll see you when I'm looking at ya.